What is smoking canna family? It is your host Dustin with two butts in a jar, and today we got Harry Cola with us. We're doing another podcast. We got a whole docket, bunch of things to do, try, and talk about. So let's get right into it. Number one is Kentucky Senate passes hemp drink bill to not try to ban it, but to try to regulate it. And personally, from what I've seen by drone footage and different images on, YouTube and other videos, Kentucky looks like it has a lot of wilderness and a lot of nothing to do in it. It seems quite desolate. So I think having something other than beer, dip, and cigarettes, that it would be pretty good for them to have some, cannabis out there. Plus, you got all that nice wilderness to enjoy if you live out in that country type of area. What
Well,
do you think
it
about it?
sounds like it might be a good area to grow too.
Yeah, and I mean the fact that, maybe people can stop getting bored and drinking beer and maybe they can drink these cannabis infused drinks, which would be better for their health.
I do believe that people on high amounts of THC are going to see better health and better overall health than who's on high amounts of alcohol or pharmaceutical drugs. I feel like once you get on these kinds of things, your health really deteriorates pretty quick. It's not an up thing, it's a down thing, downtrending. And cannabis, like I think if you're overusing it too much, too crazy, it could become detrimental as anything good. But in moderation, I don't see it being as bad as what alcohol could be in moderation.
Absolutely, Harry. I totally agree. Just due to the fact, I think it's great that they're kind of like, to me, if I mean, I'm not from Kentucky personally, but it seems kind of like a blue collar state, like it's surprising to me that they would do something like this, but due to the fact, like I said, they have barely anything from what I've seen, people do videos in parts of Kentucky, even rural Kentucky. I think it would be great for them to have these drinks. I mean, even some of the elderly use them as medicine, for instance, and I think it would be a great recreational thing because it doesn't seem like there's much out there to entertain the human mind.
Well, it also too, if you're consuming it in the drink form, you're going to get a lot more effects from it. So if you're a lightweight, you probably would need a sip and you're good all day. But
Yeah.
um,
There'd be some of us drinking cases, huh, Harry?
it's also going to be, oh yeah, it's also going to be better for your lungs because instead of sucking a bunch of tar and, smoke into your lungs, now you're consuming it the way I think it was actually intended to be consumed, eaten or drinking.
Or vaped.
Well, I mean, vaping, it's nice, but I don't really think that was originally the way to consume. I think
Yeah.
the best way to consume it's to eat it or drink it in that kind of way, because then you're getting all of it.
Yeah. Eat, drink it, vape it. Yeah. You gotta have the vape. But no, I mean, I think it's a good way for Kentucky to really open up and move forward within their, things. If they're not trying to ban hemp drinks and THC drinks, but they're trying to push it forward. I think it's a step in the right direction personally, just due to the fact that it's like I said, it doesn't seem like a place that would do that, but their people do need a lot more to do,
Well,
and that is for sure.
due to my own curiosity, I just want to come over here and see how many people we have watching. Um,
Yep, two.
cool,
Go.
cool.
All right. Anyway, guys.
Well, I wanted to make sure we could see our chat too,
Yeah,
since we're not
sorry we
doing any
couldn't
more
see our
technical
chat. We
stuff.
had to
We could see it, but I just wanted to make sure it was up to date.
shout out to everybody watching out there. How you guys doing tonight? Sorry the stream was a little late. There was a lot of stuff in IRL going on, so we got to filming videos late for you guys and all sorts of things. But going just back to topic and leave it at that, I think it's great that Kentucky's being open-minded about cannabis, letting people drink infused cannabis drinks to pass the time in that boring rural area. I mean, no hate to anybody that's from Kentucky or whatever, but it just seems like it'd be quite boring and, you
Well, I
know,
mean, maybe for us living in the
Yeah,
city, it might seem boring,
yeah,
but
that's
there's a
true.
out in the country, there's a lot to do, man. You know,
Yeah,
especially
yeah, a
if you
lot of
know about
freedoms.
well, if you know about growing plants too. You know, we're just
Yeah,
talking about one or two.
yeah,
Imagine if you had a whole field of plants.
yeah.
That you're working all day long.
God, man.
You're fighting pests all day long.
You know, Dustin and Harry would be some happy motherfuckers if we had fields of cannabis plants, guys.
Ah, if I could grow
But
that many.
anyway, we'll go on to number two. So it's good. You know, we talked about that. Georgia Senate passes a bill to expand medical marijuana access limit and THC. So Georgia is moving forward too. We see in this cannabis legalization movement, and they're allowing bills for infused drinks as well, but they are trying to monitor how much THC people take in. Now, Harry, me and you have this conversation often to where if you have a higher tolerance, it's not going to hit you like a Mack truck, though opposed to somebody that smokes maybe once every couple weeks, which there's nothing wrong with your intake, you know, but if you smoke a lot, that's cool. If you don't smoke, but you smoke often, you know, even if you come to the channel and you don't smoke at all, but you just want to learn about the plant, that's absolutely fine too.
Well,
But
I think it has a lot to do with like just overstepping and overreach and all this. I think what they really need to do is you need to have, you know, a drink that's 5 milliliters and a drink that's 1,000 milliliters and a few different degrees in between. And people need to use their own discretion. You know, if they think they can handle the 1,000 milliliter and they go chug that down, and they find out they can't handle the 1,000 milliliter, maybe next time they'll go with the 50 or the 100 milliliter instead of trying to go so crazy with it. Maybe they'll handle the 1,000 milliliter and that'll be fine for them. So people need to be able to use their own discretion and be able to consume the product that, you know, because again, like if it was something that was like seriously dangerous, that's gonna like you know, a little bit of this stuff can kill you, kind of dangerous, then I would think that, you know, then you would want to be a little bit more careful with it. But it's not that, you know, you
yeah,
can't consume. Yeah, and then the only way you could die from cannabis is smoking a ridiculous amount. And you're not dying from the cannabis, you're dying from the smoke. So if you're
carbon
consuming
monoxide
it,
inhalation.
if
Yes.
you're eating it, then like the only way you're gonna die from it is actually the diabetes from the sugary stuff you're eating, not even the cannabis. So, I
Yeah.
mean, it's not gonna kill
Yeah,
you.
yeah, I think it should be openly susceptible to who the purchaser. So, you know, and you should know that, you know, 500's a higher number than 150 or 80 or 60. You know, usually a higher mg, which stands for milligram, is a higher dosage of cannabis. So ultimately, I don't think it should be regulated and then taxed as much as it is when you're getting lower potency and you're allowed to then, some states, excuse me, are allowed to grow within doors and you can grow higher potencies with higher yields and, you know, higher this and higher that and different terpenes, whatever you want to grow, if you have the legal, you know, way to grow into your state, you know. So we live in a state where we can grow 6 plants apiece. So if there's 2 people in the household, we can grow 12, you know. But with that being said, I don't think they should really narrow that down because think about it. It doesn't help cannabis consumers like you and me out there watching when we have higher tolerances and everything available to us when we're out of our higher tolerance cannabis products are garbage. I mean, well, not really, but they're like mid tier compared to what you're smoking on. You know, I mean, would you do that, Harry? Would you, you know, smoke some gas and then go and settle for mid tier dispensary cannabis and vapes?
For even more money, that's
Yeah, for even
ridiculous.
more money when you could grow at home or, you know, possibly outsource your dispensary, maybe get it from a different source and get higher potency cannabis and
Yeah,
cannabis products.
I just don't I don't under I think they're looking at this thing from a weird angle and they're not seeing the bigger picture clearly, or maybe they are and there's a reason why they're doing things the way they are, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's strange. It's strange. However, I think they should basically, you know, let it be to the consumer. And that's kind of my final thoughts on what was it? The Senate bill in Georgia. So hopefully they become more open-minded to cannabis, and that would be great. We got New Hampshire lawmakers anonymously approve psilocybin. So in New Hampshire, guys, you can eat mushrooms. And I heard it was a great way for, therapy for some people. It helps with depression and, it helps with a lot of inner things, man. So I heard mushrooms are going to be legal definitely in New Hampshire and they're passing that bill.
It's wild, man.
Ain't it?
That's
W-
wild. Which I heard the echoes of it like happening for a few years now, but yeah, it's pretty wild that it's really starting to open up now, and like maybe mushrooms is going to be like the next cannabis, you
That's
know?
yeah. Can you imagine stopping at your local grocery store and just picking up some psilocybin mushies?
I don't think it will be. I think it will be like still more controlled the way the
Yeah,
cannabis market
yeah.
is. They'll probably have certain breeders, and you'll have to go to their dispensaries to get it, or
Yeah,
their whatever you want to their market.
and you can't be tripping face in public. And
Oh well, you wouldn't want to
no,
anyway,
hell
really.
no,
I mean, that's not
no.
a
I
good
c-
idea.
no, it sucks. It sucks. You need a cool freaking environment, man. You definitely do if you're tripping face. So
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I think it's cool, guys. Let me know down in the comments section below. What do you think, man? Would if you woke up tomorrow and psilocybin mushies were legal, what would you do? Would you care? Do you not eat mushrooms? I don't personally. I just smoke a lot of cannabis products, but I have eaten mushrooms. I don't have nothing against mushrooms. I think they're natural and organic. So, if it's organic, don't panic.
I don't know. I don't I would be interested to see what kind of cultivars they had, because like the mushroom game has stepped up from like I looked at it like I don't know how long ago was that? 15, 12 years ago I was looking at that kind of stuff, and they only had so many cultivars, but they've stepped up their game like
Yeah,
cannabis, and they have more different
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
psilocybin cubensi cultivars now.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
really
yeah. They
interesting.
have all
And
sorts of ones. They have Widow's Peak and Golden
well,
Teachers
golden
and
teachers are from like those are old school. I would say those are
like or
land race.
Landris
Yeah,
Yeah,
land
I
race.
can't say it either. Landris mushies. There we go. They're more like different cultivars. So you got, I've tried Widow's Peak, Golden Teachers. What are those Cuban ones?
There's Penis Envy.
Yeah,
There's
Cube.
PES Hawaiians. There is
I've had Golden Teachers, Widows, Peak.
I'm trying to
uh,
remember. There
or
is
widow caps. That's what they're called.
I can't remember all the names. It's been a long time
Yeah,
since I really studied it. I was really interested in all kinds of psychedelics when I was younger, but as I've gotten older, man, I like cannabis, and like this is the kind of the main thing I've been studying now is just
yeah.
trying to understand everything I can about this plant, different growing mediums, different techniques, and just doing experiments and seeing, well, what happens if I do this? Let me try. Let's see what happens. And I've learned some hard lessons, and I've done some things that are like, how did I do that?
But if Harry ever
Pure
gets
luck.
some property or known, probably gonna find a couple peyote buttons in his garden. You know.
Well, I don't know, man. The peyotes take a long time to grow. I studied those
Yeah.
too. To get those to develop the alkaloids that you're, sought after in the peyote, it could take up to 5 years just for it to start developing those alkaloids. So that, it for a good sized button, that's a 20-year grow.
Yeah, dude, that's a lot of time and effort just to trip face on a cactus.
And yeah, after 20 years of growing it, I wouldn't want to kill my plant. Like I've been growing that thing for 20 years. Let it grow.
Yeah, you can have a major peyote button, like a massive one.
Well, yeah, there used to be a long time ago, but
Yeah.
they're back in the 60s, the hippies almost ate those things out of existence.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, back then, I'm sure it'd be nice to leave reality every now and then. But yeah, dude. Number four, and you're going to find this. Florida makes it harder for medical and recreational weed to pass. So they're fighting against it in Florida.
Oh man,
Yeah, and they're
some
making it. You would think
resistance.
such a city with that makes so much money would want,
Well,
you know?
the way I see it, if the current Trump has decided to let each area govern it the way they want to govern it, and if Florida's not feeling it, then
Yeah.
maybe people should move out of Florida.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you
That
got
might
the
change their mind if
alligators, you
people
got the
leave.
yeah, you got them bullshit alligators, you
They're
got the
like, oh wait,
iguanas.
weed's legal. Come back.
Yeah, yeah, you got them damn pythons, or not boa constrictors. Yeah, that's what they are. I forgot what kind of Burmese python. That's what they are. The Burmese python going around Florida, they're evasive as fuck. You got alligators, there's sharks in the water. It's like humid as hell. I know people that's lived there and been there, so multiple people. So yeah, they've told me all about it. This ain't me saying these things; those are them. So
It's hot.
yeah, I believe it. It looks spicy. I've seen it on TV, much like Kentucky. I've seen a drone fly up Georgia too. So all these places we're talking about in this podcast today, I've seen. I haven't been to personally, but I've seen recent footage of. So, but I can't believe that. Like Florida, I think they would be such an economical incline if they legalized weed. You know how many motherfucking people live in Florida, dude?
Yeah, and I'm pretty
Holy
sure,
shit.
I'm pretty sure they would have the market for it. But I mean, with the way Florida is, maybe they're looking at it like, man, if we do this, we're gonna have a different kind of problem on our hands.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even
Uh,
the alligators are going to be high at that point. So that whole place will be. But that's crazy. I mean, Florida, what the hell? You guys could make so much money. I mean, come on, man. It's just a plant, right? But number five on the docket is Canadians agree the legalization of weed is best decision they have ever made. I can,
the best decision they ever made.
you know, legally
Canada.
from speaking to man or any Canadians that may be watching or see this, Harry just disappeared, man. Had to
Okay.
go chase forest fairies.
Oh, I'll be back.
He'll be back. But
Making sure.
anyway, um, Canadians, man, I got to agree with you guys, man. That is a great legal decision. I think in your guys' area, it is beautiful. There's a lot of nice places to visit, look at. You guys got some beautiful landscaping. So I think it is great, man. You got snow lounges, you can snowboard and get baked, during a certain part of you just got to avoid the moose and shit. They'll fuck your ass up. Other than that, like, I don't see no problem. I think it would be sweet, to be honest. But, can you disagree with Canada, Harry?
I mean, it seems like a smart move. I mean, even Trump's like trying to get that push going through the country to make that all happen.
Yeah, Congress is trying to stop it as much as humanly fucking possible, though, man. It's
It seems like that's been the problem the whole time, is Congress trying to push back on it. Seems like it's been a problem for quite some time now.
you got a president now pushing for fucking legalization nationwide, leaving it up to the states. Then you got these old fuddy fucks in there like, I don't know about
And
that,
we
god
have
damn
a
it. You
Republican
know?
president that's pushing for it too. So that's even like more wild to me because
Yeah.
historically it hasn't been that way. So I think that's a cool sign. It's a very exciting sign that things are starting to change a bit now, especially with like the stuff Elon's been doing. But it'll get interesting, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So Canada, now what do you got to say on Canada now that you're back from the third dimension?
I had to break the fourth wall, the fifth wall there.
Yeah.
Um,
We had to bring Harry back for the podcast though. Yeah.
Canada, they legalized it, which I thought that did they? I thought it was already decriminalized in Canada to
It's
some degree.
recreational and medical.
But how long has it been that way?
I have no idea.
Because I
Let's
feel like,
Google it.
because like man, like remember the Trailer Park Boys? They've
Right.
been around for a long time, and they were always kind of like light, low key. Like I think it's been decriminalized up there for a long time. So maybe they've just like fully legalized it recently, or
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not
Okay,
really sure.
Google, when did Canada legalize cannabis?
We're asking the almighty powerful Google.
Yep. October 7th. Oh, cool. That's in my birthday month, man. October 17th, 2018. Canada was the
See,
second
it's been a
country in the
while,
world to
2018.
legalize, yeah, get recreational cannabis.
That's been for a while now, but I guess after all
Yeah.
those years, they probably have racked up some coin from that legal cannabis market.
Oh yeah, man. They grow some gas. We know the Basement Grow Show, they grow some fucking gas,
Oh
dude.
yeah,
Yeah, and they're
yeah,
from Canada.
yeah,
Shout out to Basement Grow Show. You guys are fucking awesome, man. You're killing it.
yeah.
That live resin or what
Oh,
is that?
yeah, it's
Cool.
rosin that they're
Yeah, the
making.
rosin that they're making.
Live
God,
rosin. It looks
I bet.
beautiful.
Yeah, looks beautiful, guys. Keep what you're doing up,
One
man. I
day,
gotta say, yeah.
one day when we can actually grow more than 6 plants.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I can grow 12 where in my, you can grow six, Harry. I can grow 12. I mean, if you include the cat, that's 12. Like, it's two people, you know.
I'm sure they don't
I'm
look
gonna
at it that
close my
way.
buns too, and I'm gonna grow a whole 24 now.
No,
Yeah,
it doesn't actually work that way.
I wish every living thing in your house, that's like, that'd be a lot.
I would be counting microbes.
Yeah. Molecules of air. There's like 50 billion molecules of air, so that's like, 100 billion roughly in math of plants I can have legally in my house. So, now it would be nice though, guys. It would be nice. In a perfect world, you could open a bedroom window or door, and it's just a field of cannabis in your house.
Are we going to pause the docket to do the review?
Yeah, guys, speaking of which, we got a new review. It's Amnesia Haze.
Trying it
And
out.
Harry Cola's been growing it now for God knows how fucking long on the shorts. How
Well,
long was it? What's up with that?
it was
Harry, how'd that go
supposed.
for you?
Oh, so complicated. I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be a 12 week, but it ended up only being about a 9 week before I had to pull it. And
That's
so
crazy.
I can explain what happened. We've reviewed the footage, we've thought about it deeply, looking over the whole grow journal. And basically, what we've deduced is it was a silica toxicity.
Yep, yep.
I
And
put
that's
too much silica.
And that's what was wrong with the Amnesia Haze. You guys seen it in the shorts, but however, we got it flowered, cured, and ready to go right now.
Which it still
So
produced
all
flower.
we got to do is heat up the volcano. My bad, Harry. Go ahead.
It still produced flower. It was a little bit more on the airy side. Now, I don't think that the terpenes or the potency quite meted what it could have met. It was reduced slightly, but overall, the terpenes are like this floral berry, um, like floral berry hashy taste is what we're
Yeah,
getting from it.
I would say, yeah, we tried it before, and it's a little floral. It's a berry, like a blueberry taste, and it's like a hash plant at the end. So it has some very interesting terpenes for how it tastes out, and the effects creep up. They don't hit you immediately. And for a sativa, it is quite calming. I mean, I'm very sativa sensitive. What's up? Hold up. What's up, Tim Swank? What's going on, man?
Yo, what's
Yo,
up?
what's up, Canna fam? We're sitting here talking about this amnesia grow that Harry just got done completing. He's going to be completing the gorilla cookies grow here,
The
and
gr-
I got the mimosa cake almost finished too. Shorts of that will be up tomorrow, but we're
Now,
going to give it a review.
the gorilla cookies, if you've been keeping up with those shorts, looks so amazing. That tent, it's a hard area to control the temperature, so it does get a little bit up in the 75 before the light turns off. And whenever it does, it vaporizes a little bit of those terpenes. And that tent just smells like fruity freaking pebbles. It makes mouth water like, ah,
It
so
is
good.
good. Harry did a damn good job with the 3 foot tent that's 2 foot wide. He killed it with the gorilla cookies, I gotta say. But we got this fired up. This is the Stores and Bickle Volcano. It's a medical cannabis vaporizer, and we got it all loaded up with some amnesia haze that Harry Cola just grew. And
Um,
we're going to blow down some and tell you guys all about it and how the buzz is. But until then, the mimosa cake update, real quick, Canna family. It's doing good. In the beginning, it had a little cow mag issue because I always heard with auto flowers, you give it a quarter or a half of nutrients. You don't want to overdo it with auto flowers. Too little, you're good. Too much, Pretty fucked. So I had to up the milliliters of CalMag. And when I did that, guys, it did great, but you can still see that there's some CalMag deficiency in it. You're going to have that.
And
And
that can vary from cultivar to cultivar
yes,
too. So that
absolutely.
that's what jumping around in cultivars, it gets really complicated because you could have two indigos and they could grow in completely different conditions. It just depends on those genetics. You can
Absolutely.
have two, or you can have a
Oh,
couple different hybrids, and each one might have slightly different demands. This one might want more light. This one might want more heat. This one might want less humidity. So you really gotta grow these cultivars and figure out what their demands are, and it just takes time to
oops.
go through them and figure out, well, this cultivar actually likes a more humid environment. This cultivar wants a more arid, dry climate. And some cultivars are just geared to grow in those kind of climates, you know?
And the best thing you can do is just look up these specs. And what I mean by specs is specifics on your cultivar. So it'll help you, usually indicas like to grow cooler, sativas like to grow warmer, some hybrids are a little in between because they're bred with both. And that's basically what Harry's trying to say.
Research, research, research. And well,
Absolutely.
growing it helps too because once you grow a cultivar one time, it gives you a really good idea of why it succeeded or why it failed.
Yeah.
Sometimes a plant might succeed and you actually won't learn anything from it because sometimes you need that problem or that failure to occur to say, okay, this is what happened. Let me not repeat those mistakes.
And if you have multiple seeds, this is what this deficiency looks like in the strand. So now I know when I grow it again, it's going to need more CalMag than not. Some cultivars do require more CalMag, and I was giving it a light feeding, like I said, and I had to give it a heavy feeding,
And I
you
feel like
know?
autoflowers are completely different than photoperiods. They're
Absolutely. They're
similar but different.
way more sensitive plants you're talking about.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they are definitely, you gotta baby those. They require what, yeah, require a lot of nurture.
Yeah, absolutely.
The amnesia haze is making me forget how to talk.
Yeah, speaking of forgetting how to talk, man.
Let me hit that button.
Yeah, go ahead, fire her up.
Is it this one?
Yep, just push her down. Oh, put that on there. Yeah. Hold on.
Twist it.
Just hold on. Yeah. Oop. Oh, yeah. Now this amnesia ace is pretty good, I must say. Homegrown. Whoa. Oh, this amnesia haze, it's likely to give you amnesia, can of fam.
Yeah, the effects are memory loss. It's euphoria and energizing, so
Yeah, we looked it up. Get this. I looked it up, can of fam, and it gave me the thing for like if you have actual amnesia, not the statistics on amnesia haze.
yeah, I think Google search is broken these days.
You guys imagine that? You're looking up amnesia haze, you read like memory loss, loss of consciousness, and you're like, damn, that's some good weed.
Yeah, I thought the cultivar was really gonna knock my socks off.
Which will make you forget where your old damn sock drawer is altogether. Damn.
Yeah, it's found in my refrigerator, right next to the soup side. Token down, can of family. If you're out there with something rolled up, packed up, ready
And
to
ready to
light,
go. Yeah. Now is the time. Go ahead and join us. We are currently at 1,475 subscribers. We'd like to take this time. Thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome out there. Guys who like, support, watch us, watch our shorts. We thank you greatly. We try to put out as much different type of content. Right now, we're just doing an Amnesia Haze review.
Yeah, live review, which is kind of crazy to try to do. I'm realizing now.
Yeah, you need to be an octopus here, have multiple hands.
Yeah, if I had like if I it was like Mortal Kombat's go that Guro.
I think that's tasting plurally. Now that was the Stores and Bickle Babe can of fam. It is absolutely amazing. I gotta say, it vaporizes the THC crystals right off your cannabis, leaving behind unburnt flower. It's a really nice medical device.
Turns that green Chiba into some brown frown, but it's enjoyable the whole time.
Yep, all you get is pure effects. And no matter, check this out, if you go and buy like an ounce, a half ounce, a pound of the same strand, you can smoke it, smoke it, smoke it. As long as you use this vaporizer, every time you will feel effects and get high, no matter what your tolerance is.
Now, and the first one, I wasn't as impressed as I am with the second time around. The second time around did a much better job. Like, yeah, that's not half bad.
Now, I gotta say, it had the same floral inhale. It had a blueberry taste in between, and the exhale was quite hash plant. So I gotta say, you could definitely tell that there was a hashy taste. You could definitely tell there was a blueberry taste, and as well as a floral within that. And the thing is, it's supposed to be sweet citrus, is what we read. It had
Well, I had
citrine,
carotene in
myrcene.
there too.
Yeah, citrine, myrcene, and caryophyllene were the terpenes in this specific cannabis.
I'm sure the lockout that I caused by the silica had some problems with that.
Yeah, but as far as overall effects, I gotta rate the mid-grade potency, like low tier, mid tier, and high tier. It's right in there with the mid tier with the problems Harry Cola had.
Like a 6.
I would give it a 7.
You're still sticking at that. So I
Still,
tried to
yeah,
get you good at
yeah,
6.
yeah. Dude, because look, he's his own worst critic, man. He said at 5, and I'm looking at it, I'm smelling it, I'm observing it. I've grown a lot of off bud before and had a few problems when I began. I didn't begin, guys, being, as good as I am today or knowing as much as I did today. Same thing with him, like, it's trial and error, but I did it through years. And even with the years of experience I've had, I knew that wasn't going to be as bad as he was like, man, this isn't going to be that good, and it's good. It is. It's really mild for a sativa. And honestly, I mean, I'm sorry, guys. I know probably going to lose subscribers for this, but I'm not a big fan of sativa. It's not my thing. Only a few specific sativas. I'm really picky when it comes to my sativas, like strawberry cough and a few other ones I can't remember right now. And that's about it. But Amnesia Haze, you know,
I don't really normally like hazes. I've tried
yeah.
like a mango haze I've tried in the past that wasn't too bad.
Yeah, Mango Haze was pretty good. Super Silver Haze, guys, gives me a headache right from here, and then it travels behind my eyes every time I smoke it. And it's not like, it's not cured right, something, right? It's just like the cannabinoids don't go good. So, I gotta say, guys, for an Amnesia Haze and a sativa, I like that. So, and it's not very a high-priced cultivar. So if you guys are into hazes and sativas, highly recommend
Now,
Amnesia Haze.
the autoflower is a little bit more of an intermediate grow. The photo period would probably be a bit easier if you want a less of a challenge. If you don't have quite the green thumb or all the skills on deck, then I'd say photo period might be the better way to go because it seems like most autoflowers I run into are intermediate. You don't see too many autoflowers that are just they say easy to grow.
Absolutely. And I gotta say, he did have some issues along the way, but, being a smoker of 20 plus years and a grower as well, and, studying everything and anything I could about cannabis, I gotta say, he did not do a bad job at all. And out of 10, I mean, in my opinion, I would give it a 7 to a 7.5.
Well, I mean, I made it to flower with that one, and with the way it was looking by that end there, man, I think it's a miracle I pulled that one off. So
Yeah, I
if
think he did a good job.
if it was able to get a rating, then I'd say I've at least got two successful grows in it with
Yeah,
many
yeah,
more to go.
yeah. He had the Gorilla Glue, which we tasted
Oh,
and
Gorilla
looked.
Cookies.
Yeah, Gorilla Cookies, can of fam. I'm sorry, you guys seen that in the shorts, I'm sure. Right now, now that the Amnesia Haze is gone, the Gorilla Cookies is gone,
The Gorilla
and
Cookies,
the Strawberries is gone.
I've been growing the Gorilla Cookies forever now because I started it as a
Yeah.
seed and then I monster cropped it and I just kept it going. So it that plant is old.
Yeah, and at that point, I was growing the strawberries and bananas on the channel, Canna Family, and then he was growing the Gorilla Cookies, and then he started with the Amnesia Haze. He got that done, and then I'm doing the Mimosa Cake, and now they're just stacking the Mimosa Cakes. I'm sure you guys have seen that in the shorts, you know. So,
I'm trying so hard to get the jelly donuts to pop.
yeah, yeah.
I'm literally doing everything I can do to get them to pop.
And me and him's been having a lot of behind the scenes conversation off and on about that. And I'm just telling him, sometimes there is duds, but 7 to 14 days, if you guys ever wonder, usually mine pop up within 2 or 3 days when I
Normally
germinate. But
mine have been too. Within a
yeah,
few days, it's like,
yeah,
yeah, and I got overconfident and I just took the seed and I was like, yeah, this is gonna germinate there. That's gonna germinate there. And then 3 days went by and I was like, huh, they didn't germinate. Better set up that humidity dome.
yeah, man. I mean, it helps, especially with the heat map, whatnot. It
That's what I
creates
was thinking.
perfect environment for germination to happen. I mean,
That's what I was thinking. But the thing with the germination station, like my setup or your setup, is
yeah.
it's really important not to let those seeds acclimate to your humidity dome. As soon as you see those plants pop, you want to get them into the growing area so they can acclimate to the growing area and not the humidity dome.
Yeah, yeah. On the comments, Tim Swank put Gorilla Glue. Now, let me tell you, I've grown different variants of Gorilla Glue Auto, Gorilla Glue number 4, Gorilla Glue number 44, Original Glue, and Super Glue. I've done all these and smoked them as well. They are absolutely fire strands. And when you take Gorilla Glue and really mix it with anything, like you can mix it with my favorite strand, Grape Ape,
Oh,
and it would just be fire,
yeah, because it
you
has like
know.
that coffee to chocolate kind of terpene in
Yeah,
there.
you could call it Grape Gorilla, or
Or, well, hold on.
but I mean,
There's a lot you could do with it.
yeah, it really has. And different ones. See, Gorilla Glue number 4 is the more sativa. Gorilla Glue number 44 is the more condensed indica version of Gorilla Glue. And if you can mess around with however you want. So those are really good variants. And it's from the parents of it, Super Glue and Original Glue,
Right.
and it creates Gorilla Glue. So that's pretty much the history behind that.
Yeah, I like the Gorilla Cookies,
Yeah,
man. Put
Gorilla
put a little
Cookies
Girl
is
Scout
good.
cookie in there.
Anything. I have Gorilla. You have Gorilla cheesecake. I have strawberry Gorilla that I'm going to be growing as well.
Yeah, I have. Well, it's
So,
it's called wedding cheesecake. It's
oh,
wedding
wedding cheesecake.
cheesecake. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not gorilla. It's wedding. It's wedding
Oh, okay.
cake and cheese is in there and something else. Can't exactly remember what's all in that cultivar. I think that's the one I might grow for the photo period. That or Fruity Pebbles. I don't know. We might put up another poll.
Yeah, definitely. Tim Server asks, does the drinkables get you high? Daily flower smoker, thanks. Well, Tim Server, yes, absolutely, due to the fact that if you've ever had edibles, for instance, um, then it would have the same kind of effect, but quicker. So, make sure you're not doing anything that requires, to be
Well, it depends
physical
on the
or,
milligram too. Like
yeah.
if it's a whole can and it's 10 milligram, that's probably not going to affect you that much. But if it's a whole can and it's 1,000 milligrams, that's going to tank you.
Yeah, and if you go buy and 1 or 2 of these and chug them, yes, they do. I've been smoking for years. I mean, you can go back in the channel, and that's kind of the receipts on that. I mean, me and him both have, but
I think it really does depend on the person person because everybody's
Yes.
metabolism and everybody's cannabinoid system's different. I've
Yeah.
seen people who can eat edibles and just it doesn't affect them, and I've seen people who take edibles and it tanks them and they can't even function. They're like
Yeah.
drunk.
So Tim Serber, to sum it up, and Canna family, I would definitely say if you have a higher tolerance, then match that milligram and try that at first. If you have a low tolerance, don't chug a bunch of them. But yeah, definitely. I think either way, yeah, they get me high.
Oh yeah,
You
and
know, so,
drinking it too
yeah,
is going to be a lot faster than like
yeah,
a cookie or some kind of edible or even a candy because you're drinking that and
yeah.
it's going right into your system so easy because
Or
it's a
a
liquid.
vape, or
Yeah,
anything,
the
flour.
vape,
You
well, the
know.
vape and the flower does is the fastest way, but it doesn't last as long as something that you consume. It stays in that system a lot longer.
Any brand advice on THC drinks? Personally, yeah, I'll tell you what would be the best. Because then you can add it to anything, Tim Serber. Um, Basically, you can get the syrups. They're concentrated THC syrups, and you can add that syrup in any drink. And you can get it in hybrid, indica, and sativa at dispensaries. And that syrup you can add to orange juice, you can add to, pop, you can add to anything that you drink.
You could also, if you're creative and you want to get a hold of some equipment, you can also make your own syrups at home too. If you're
Yeah,
a grower, you can pull
absolutely.
trimming or some smaller buds from your plant, save those, turn those and decarboxylate them, turn them into a sugar, make can of sugar, and then take that can of sugar and make that syrup from it.
Absolutely. I mean, there's ways to make it too, but there are a lot of few infused drinks, I would say. But the best way to do it is either make your own infused sugar. You can do that route and go that route,
Buying
or
it
buying it.
would probably be the easier way.
Yeah,
Making it's going to be complicated. You need equipment. You need a lot of stuff to make that happen. So if you don't have a
but
lot of stuff to make that happen, just buying the syrup would be the way to go.
yeah, as far as brands though, that's kind of what I mean, I've only had one.
I'm a do-it-yourself kind of guy. I don't
Mm,
brands. I'd tell you AC Infinity, but they don't make that.
yeah, yeah.
Tell you Hydro Gardens and Lights get you some marriage grow. That stuff's pretty cool.
But yeah, no,
I like it.
I can't think of any particular company because I've only drank them, a handful of times, really, like once, twice, couple times, and it was a few different ones. But I cannot remember because it was so many, moons ago.
The last syrup I remember is like scissor.
hmm I suggest getting the syrup so you can add to anything.
Yeah, that'd be really
Yeah,
the way to go.
yeah. To be honest,
Or if you have like if you like coffee, can of sugar, or tea, can of sugar, syrup, it would be easy to add to juices or pops.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And see, then Tim Serber, that would be if you have a high tolerance, man. It is right up your alley, Canafam, because you can it's concentrated and you can pour it by the amount in milliliter into a drink, and it has nothing in it. It's just cannabinoids, terpenes, and THC. Tim Swank, I have zero tolerance when smoking, but have never really felt any results from edibles.
See, some
Ah,
people are like that, man. Some people
yeah.
they don't really
Tim
get that effect.
Yeah, Tim Swank says I have zero tolerance when smoking, but have never really felt any results from any edible. Sal, yeah.
Some people do have a block on edibles, right? That's like something in the genetics. They can't metabolize it when they eat the THCA. I was hearing something about this the other day.
Maybe.
I think there is like a rare case where some people can't metabolize it when they eat it, and they
Yeah,
just can't.
yeah. With Tim Swank, I gotta say, um, Tim Serber, no problem. Yeah, I wish I could help you with more with different company or brands, but
Yeah, I wish
yeah,
maybe some brands out there should send us some samples so we could
yeah,
like let our audience know
yeah.
brands they should try that we've tried that we
I'm,
know are good
I
so they
mean,
could try them too.
yeah, I mean,
That'd be
honestly,
really
yeah,
cool.
yeah, it would
Too
be.
bad there isn't any
But
companies out there sending us stuff.
I would say though, back to
'Cause I don't know any, honestly.
Tim Swank, I'd have to say like, you know, I was that way. I ate a bunch, and it's like I gotta eat a bunch in order to get smacked. Like, Harry.
Well, I've seen you smack like 7 of those peanut butter cookies we made.
Yeah, and they were highly concentrated, guys. I woke up and these cookies, there were 7 of them. They have to be ate in 3 days because we used eggs in it and all that shit for Munchy Mondays. We got
Shelf
another
life.
Munchy Monday coming up soon. Just got to go get the stuff for it, and we'll be making the video. So go to the grocery store, basically. But anyway, Canna fam, we concentrated all that and did a Munchie Mondays on it, made infused peanut butter cookies and how to do it and the recipe. And I woke up in the morning, ate 7 of those, and then did a short on me eating like a half a bag of edible gummies. So to answer your question, Tim Swank, I mean, honestly, if they don't affect you each time, I would try to find a deal where you can get a lot that's like or just like maybe high milligram and just try that, but make sure you're not doing anything that requires too much physical activity that day, because they might tank you, because they do make you feel like you're drunk and you're just stoned and you're getting higher, and then it kind of fluctuates and it's like a roller coaster. Like you're at a
In
normal high, and then
waves.
it's like as your body metabolizes it, you're getting higher and then it
And
comes
I
back down.
remember
So,
there's points where it's like you feel like you're sober and you'll go to stand up and it's like all of a sudden it hits you and you're like, wow, nope, I'm the opposite.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I would suggest eating more and higher dose, but make sure,
Well,
you're
I
not doing.
swear, we're gonna have to like I'm gonna have to find that video because I watch too much stuff and I swear I watched a video about somebody who had people who had this condition where
Yeah, maybe.
it's like a
I
block
mean,
like
man,
they
you could
can't
have a high metabolism, a slower metabolism. It depends how your metabolism is, and it could maybe
and
process all of
in
it.
the cannabinoid
Yeah, it could be
system
doing
too.
it slowly to where dude's barely feeling it, or, it could be that too. It could very well. It all depends on a lot of
A
other
lot of
things.
factors.
Yeah,
There's a lot
but
of
I would
factors
try
really.
eating more because I'm that way too. I can't just eat a 500 milligram candy bar and be good. Like, unless it's super concentrated, maybe made out of some live resin, or, concentrated from that, made into edibles, just something. It had to be a concentrate edible.
Well,
Try that too as
I feel
well.
like with edibles too, they never really hit me until I hit my vape or, smoke a little bit.
Yeah.
Like once I smoke a little bit, that like helps activate the edibles more.
Yeah, and that I would search for more potent ones also.
More potency, of course.
Yeah, because there's ones made of live rosin, there's ones made of flour, there's ones made of, I know ones have distillates
Live
in them, live
diamonds,
diamonds.
distillate.
Yeah. So I would definitely search for those. Usually they're in the
The
organic
live
side.
rosin, I think, would be the way to go because that's where you're getting your full spectrum. You're not
Yeah.
worrying about additional chemicals. It's normally
Yeah.
heat pressed, so it's a lot cleaner.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're worried about any of that, you want to go organic, don't panic. Just go with the live resin gummies. Oh, hold on.
We got another comment down
Yep.
in the section. We got a big comment in the section. All kinds of stuff happening.
Oh, no worries, Tim Server. That's what we're here for. If you guys have any questions, just keep putting them. We'll answer. We'll gladly answer it. No problem. Um, Tim Server says, I can eat an entire bag of gummies too and smoke bowl after bowl. Is there any extreme high you can get? I've had the diamonds, etc. What is something that gets you high over the top? Thanks. And last question. And like I said, Tim Server, feel for free like to ask questions. Yeah, we love, definitely.
Okay, so
What would you do, Harry?
if you
And
want to
then,
get extremely,
yep,
extremely fried, you're gonna
yep,
need a 1 gram distillate cart. We're gonna break this cart. We're taking the top off this cart because we're gonna take a nug of weed. We're gonna take that cart and we're gonna put all of that distillate. We're gonna use a hair dryer really carefully because you don't want to blow that distillate away. But all that distillate's gonna go inside that nug of weed, the whole cart inside that nug of weed. Then we're gonna need some kind of concentrate because we or more distillate that works too, but preferably something different like a concentrate. Wrap that nug in concentrate. Now still not done yet because we gotta heat that nug up a little bit and roll it in some kind of keef. Use some really good keef too. Roll it around in keef. And now we're just gonna let that dry out a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And now cut that
Yeah.
in half and smoke it.
Yeah. What we did is basically you take a bud, you inject it with a cart of distillate. You can get clean syringes to do this that don't have the needle tops. That way, there's
I think
not.
I used one for cheese
Yeah.
and I broke it.
You can get a syringe. Well, these are like medical type deals, but they don't have the needles, they have the
I
plungers.
used one for cheese.
Yeah, yeah. But you can get that and infuse a bud, and you can do that with multiple carts to up the potency. So you can put
How
one
many
cart in
carts
it,
did
two
I
in it.
put in that one?
Hey,
I feel like I
yeah,
put like 4 or 5 in one nug one
yeah,
time. Back
yeah,
way
dude.
back in the
Holy
day when
shit,
things
dude.
were crazy.
Yeah, man. There's been times we've infused it, but you infuse a bud with a cart and then you wrap it in a concentrate and then roll that in keef. So you're essentially making your own moon rock, but you have to mix potencies sometimes. And sometimes like smoking, like I'll tell you if you're smoking weed or if you're smoking dabs or if you're smoking diamond, for instance, and you don't keep getting a tolerance to that particular thing and you're moving around the board, then it's very hard to get high because you're doing so many things at once. So if you stick to one particular thing, like today I'm doing dabs, tomorrow I'm doing dabs, like all week, let's say, and then you switch it up to a big amount of flower to the face. Each cannabinoid and each concentrate, flower, diamond, live resin, shatter, whatever
Well, I think
you're
this is
smoking will essentially give you and deliver different buzzes.
right. Well, I
But
think it's a good way. The good way
two,
to explain it is if you're just smoking on THCA, you're
yeah.
going to get a huge tolerance to THCA. But if you keep smoking on that THCA, eventually your tolerance to like CBD and all those other cannabinoids is going to decrease a little bit. So when you go back and get
Yeah.
on that flower or those distillate pens or those other live rosin pens or whatever it may be, you're going to get different effects because you haven't had that CBD and the other cannabinoids that are in there. And once you start getting smacked with those after not having them, it's going to be different effects. And if you kind of move around and you don't just stay on pens, you don't just stay on bud, but like you were saying, you switch it up. Once you start hitting that point where it's like, man, this flower is just not doing it anymore, it's time to get a pen or a concentrate or just switch it up because
Yeah.
nowadays these pens, you can get distillate ones, you can get live rosin ones, you can get live diamond ones, you can get, there's so many different varieties out there and choices and stuff that it's like, you know, it's easy to switch it up so you don't have that issue with getting too much of a tolerance on something. But if you kind of stick with a certain routine, you're going to get that tolerance built and you're not going to be able to break out of that cycle.
Yeah, and up in the amount of diamonds within concentrate. So if let's say, since you said you don't like the moon rocks too much, the taste as well as the distillate, that's understandable. If you mix a concentrate, a certain amount of concentrate like batter, shatter, live rosin, live resin, what have you, and you take diamonds, your diamonds is your concentrated 99.9%, or it's usually 98.9% THC. So essentially, if you're adding more to that, whatever you're smoking, you're concentrating it more. So I would suggest getting a stock amount of diamonds and adding it to maybe whatever you're smoking, or just smoking pure diamond without any, like, there's diamond in sauce, there's diamonds in resin, there's diamonds this. You want pure diamonds because that's kind of where your tolerance is at.
Those are hard to obtain. That's
Yeah,
going to be expensive.
it will be rather pricey, but I mean, that is the best way. You can also try smoking if you're, if you're a dabber, then, try smoking flower and then, go back from flower to dabs and then, or go from dabs to edibles or, try to move around the board. So if that helps, I mean, that's the best way. I've done it because I used to have it to where I was smoking from the time I got up and the time I went to bed. And the only time I really got high was in my first morning smoke.
Right, right. Well,
That
which,
first morning smoke was my buzz for the entire day, no matter if I was chiefing dabs, carts, edibles.
right. That's that
You know,
tolerance just building and building. But I mean,
yeah.
sometimes just like it's weird. If you smoke for a long time and then you take a little break and you come back to it, you get a lot higher the second time around. And then like the buzz is more enjoyable after a little
And
break.
And you don't have to break from certain things, just break from, like, let's say if you're dabbing, go to flour or, vape carts or something else and use that for a long period of time and then switch back and it should hit you all over again. So
Right.
essentially taking a break, you don't have to quit smoking. You just switch and derive from flour, this, that, the other. So that's my best advice, or advice, excuse me. And I hope that honestly helps. Um, let's see. Nate Byth ask if you can cure THC buds? Thanks. No problem, Nick Bryce. Yes, absolutely. You can cure any type of hemp flower. You can even cure hemp flowers. You can cure THCA buds. You can cure cannabis buds, of course. But yes, you can cure that. And the way to do it, if you receive some that's too dry necessarily, or maybe too moist, just buy Vivita packs. They have one that sucks moisture out and puts moisture back in. They're relatively cheap. You can find them on Amazon, or maybe even if you have a local gardening area near you.
Pro store. Like
Yeah.
Hydro Gardens and
Yeah,
Lights.
like something like Hydro Gardens and Lights that you guys have seen on our channel or something of that nature. Or you can just order them for Bovita. I mean, there's many places, but it will help put the moisture in. Oh, I'm vape, man. Yeah,
It's a little spicy.
yeah. But yeah. So hopefully that helps. You can cure those buds, man. I'll join you though, Harry, on some live resin here in Diamond Cart. But what was I going to say? Yeah, yeah. So I hope that helps. You can cure any bud, and you can add moisture back into it and take moisture back out of it, and you can cure them the same way as marijuana buds, basically. Um, let's see.
Because essentially the
Yeah.
curing process is just a preserving technique. That's all you're trying to do is slow down the metabolic rate of decay in the buds. So, and that can go for any kind of bud. A bud is just a word for that means flower.
And Tim Serber says he loves the channel. Thank you. Much love, Canna family. We wouldn't exist out here in YouTube land without people like you that watch and subscribers. Um, Basically, we try to share the passion of cannabis, keep it a chill vibe, keep it a chill chat and everything where everybody can get high, hang out, ask questions, just watch what's going on in the stream, what have you. We usually have a docket of things we go over, but thank you. We're trying to up the production in our channel, and we've come, I'd say, a long way from evolutionizing, getting better equipment and things. So it's greatly appreciated. We do put a lot of time into this. This is more of
It's a
just
lot of
a
work.
chill podcast, though. We do have a docket. We got halfway through it, but Harry's over there doing his thing, and
I,
I'm
I,
talking to you guys in the comment section. So,
I interrupted the docket for a review because I thought, why don't we do a live review? People like the reviews, so
absolutely. So Tim Server puts have the moon rocks, taste not as good. Okay, we covered that. Yes, have all the
so
concentrates, but still love my
now,
flower.
let me talk about the moon rocks for a minute because
Okay.
they are difficult to smoke. When you're smoking moon rocks, you can't really just break them up and stick them in your bowl. The best way to smoke a moon rock would be through a vaporizer, and a student glass with the charcoal, not a lighter. Smoking them out of a bowl is tricky. You have to put the lighter above the bud because you don't want to burn the bud. You just want to heat it up to literally vaporize the terpenes, and you got to do that for a long time because it burns really slow and for a long time. If you're able to smoke them through a vaporizer one time, it will change your mind on, especially not if not maybe not homemade ones, proper made ones from a dispensary are going to be way better than the homemade ones just because they know what they're doing.
And they come in multiple sizes, ranges of
Terpenes.
prices. This one's rather pricey because they stopped making this particular one, but I think it was $600-700, but there are cheaper ones. This was gifted to me. So, I don't buy this kind of stuff all the time, but that's why we have it on the channel because it is a rather nice piece there, but it is a $600 or $700 device. But there are cheaper variants that are just as good and produce just as quality vape. And you don't have to have that combustive material if you're not into that. But there's nothing wrong with just smoking flower like Harry's doing as well. Um, he said he has all the concentrates, but still love my flower. I totally agree. You know, I love it too, I gotta say. I love it in my edibles. I love vaping it out of there.
I,
I, you know,
I
from
enjoy
time to
vaping
time, I
it.
enjoy smoking it.
And from time to time, I don't smoke flower often. This is just because I wanted to try out the amnesia haze properly, and I felt like just doing it through the vape wasn't enough. I wanted to try it through a bowl or a joint really because the bowl might corrupt the flavor and I wanted to make sure I was getting the full impact of the flavor. Plus, I want to see if some of this ash will build up and see what that ash looks like ultimately too. Because I didn't really get the chance to fully flush it as much as I wanted to, and I think the ash might reveal that to me.
Yeah, I gotta say, for the, problems that did occur, it was a great cultivar that came out. It had a really chill buzz, I'm sorry, for a sativa. It had a really floral berry taste with a hash plant aftertaste kind of family. And, you know, I gotta say, Harry thought it wasn't gonna turn out all that great, but I gotta say, I've been smoking bud and growing it for a minute, and I've had my mistakes, much like Harry over here, and it came out pretty damn good. After pooting on it and vaping it,
Very,
you know,
very floral, man.
yeah,
It's very
yeah,
floral, and it
yeah.
still has that bit of hash in there, even through the gibber.
Yeah, now it says it's supposed to be a sweet citrine notes. So, can of family, if you think about it, I think, it's more of a berry to me. I mean, it might taste different to you guys. Have you guys ever had amnesia haze? Let me know down in the comments section below. What cultivar company was that actually? 42
Um,
Fast Buds?
let me
No.
hold on, let me remember. It came. It came in the marriage broken. That's
Yeah,
right. So I'm
yeah.
not 100% sure. It was one of those like three or four that was named in that Humboldt Seeds, 42 Fast Buds, North Atlantic Seed Company, and was
Yeah.
there another one?
Yeah. I can't remember. No, that's it.
Did I name them all?
Yeah.
I'm better than I thought it was.
Yep. Shit. He's getting them down. Look at Harry, man. He's on his shit. But Um, yeah, I gotta say it was a good cultivar. What number are we at here on the docket? Let's get back to that real quick.
I think
Okay.
we're halfway through.
Yeah, Canadians. Canadians said cannabis, they're so happy they grew it or decide to legalize it. My closing statement on that, I already said that. Okay, now I found okay. Coating dentures in CBD can prevent oral infection, study shows. Now,
What?
yeah. So okay,
Oh,
so that says if you don't have dentures though, that says CBD has microbial properties, which means it's much like Neosporin, guys. So if it's in a lotion, you can use it for wounds and whatnot. So I mean, I gotta say, that's pretty cool. I mean, and the fact that it helps oral infection, maybe one day they can give it to you as an antibiotic. Let's say if you have a tooth problem or injury in the mouth, something you're going to get surgery or maybe removed or whatever the case, as far as the tooth or whatever, then, I think that's great.
they'd ask if you want the grape or the Kush flavor.
Yeah, do you want the grape or the bubblegum flavored CBD? We also
Well,
got OG
Kush.
Kush.
Kush for the adults,
And then we got the Ghost Train Haze, which is extra strength. You know?
some grape ape.
Yeah, some grape ape, indica. But
Some of that a big banana, man. That big banana was fire.
yeah, yeah, that big banana had a great taste, candy taste, and it had a good potency to it. It's just the buds came out all crazy, just due to nutrient problems, guys. That's pretty much it. But we got right here, medical marijuana provides significant improvements in cancer patients. Now, this is something I know it might bore some of you out there, but I know a lot about cancer and marijuana studies because it is something I've looked at. I don't have it, you know. I don't know anybody, you know, a few people in my family's had it, but I'm just looking at it. Well, one person in my family, come to think of it. But anyway, I just, know a lot about it because I always thought it helped, actually, two, come to think of it. Now, I had a cousin, he had brain cancer and he was given 6 months to live. He just had twin girls, for instance. And after using cannabis concentrates, that cancer thing swole and eventually it went away and he went into remission or for remission, something like that, and didn't have it anymore. Now he's completely fine. And that was, he was given 6 months to live. So, I have seen it help people. There's also a case how CBD helped a girl named Charlotte. They even named a strand after her.
Right, I
She
remember that
had,
case.
yeah, 400 to 500 seizures a day. Her parents would have to, had no option but to either put her in a medical coma in Nebraska or move her to Colorado to where she could have cannabis treatment. So her parents were all out of options, tired of seeing their kid like that, which is totally understandable, and moved to Colorado. And now she has one seizure a day, if that. And they also named a CBD purely strand after her called Charlotte's Web. And that's what this whole story refers to. You guys can feel free to look it up on Google if you want to. But, this plant also helped a child. So,
It's not that bad.
CBD also helped the kid. It helps with oral infections. I think CBD in very, very, very high doses is great because it can be quite intoxicating. I've took pens. I've bought 10 CBD pens, guys, because I wanted to see. Okay, usually I smoke THC, but I wanted to see. And I got these CBD pens, guys, and I puffed a bunch of them down just to see if I'd get any effects. They were each 15,000 milligrams per pen. And it was great pens. And I only took down 8 of them before I was just like tired of hitting something, literally. Like, I'm like, I can't keep picking these devices up. And I felt drunk. Like, I mean, but in a good way, not like sick, and I don't like drinking. No offense to anybody that does, it's just not my thing. But, I felt just gone, dude. And they were all like peach cream, and they were good.
I think CBD is kind of like the balancer to THC. So when you take a lot of CBD, that's kind of the effects you get. Is that more sleepy, drowsy? I think I even more of the narcotic effects
And
that you would that you
and
would
I
say.
was walking, getting baked in the park all day that day, and I didn't even feel it because my legs were killing me. And it was like I couldn't even feel that. Like, I was just,
But and it is a pain
yeah,
reliever. It
yeah.
does CBD if you want pain relief. You're looking for CBD, and
And high concentrations, guys, and very high
if you want
concentration.
psychoactive effects, you're looking for the hybrid sativa area.
We also got, jumping off the CBD thing, oh, the cancer patient. That's what we're going to. We talked about CBD again, but yeah, the cancer patient.
Man, the
Yeah.
amnesia haze is getting me. I
Yeah.
forget what
It
we're
does kind
doing.
of make you feel kind of disoriented. I get why they
Well,
call it amnesia haze.
I got halfway through and I had to stop it because I'm
But
like I'm kind of feeling it. That's actually kind of impressive.
yeah, basically, scientists have been doing cancer, treatments and things. And long story short, guys, because I don't want to bore anybody, but for those you want to know, there are scientific studies that show cannabis concentrates help reduce cancerous tumors and it helps bring appetite. And, that way it's a more organic form instead of heading straight to chemo and breaking your
So
body down and
is it the
your immune system.
CBD that helps with the cancer, or is it the THC, or is it all the
It's
cannabinoids
it's
working in
everything.
conjunction?
It's everything working in conjunction in order to, provide relief and, ultimate, more remission, going into remission symptoms, where your cancer regresses and now you don't have it, and now it's dormant, and it's just created from white blood cells, that build up in the body when your white blood cell counts too much than your red blood cell count,
Well,
then
I
you
think there's
have
a lot of different ways and
that's
things.
the beginning.
Right.
And that's how they can tell through blood testing that you could be in very early stages. So, you got to keep your red blood cell count and your white blood cell count, balanced out. You can't have one or the other because they both provide different
It's
functions
the
for the
calcium and the
circulatory system.
magnesium of your body.
Yeah, yeah, basically like it would be in a cannabis plant. But yeah, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I went too doctor into it. But, like I said, I'll bore you guys with it. I know a lot about a lot, man. But, you know, um, anyway, I think cannabis is great for cancer treatment, and I think it should be an available option, just like the other things that are options, because I think anything that can relieve somebody from that type of state and either bring them back to life fully or help them throughout their daily existence, on planet Earth, is great. I think that should be a good option to them,
I mean,
but that's kind of what I got to say on that.
if it can retard the growth and it can stop the issue, then it could buy you more time, So yeah, that seems like a viable option, especially if it's not the cost of chemotherapy.
Yeah. See, Tim Serber, honestly, yeah. And I was getting into that. I was prescribed Xanax years ago, and it was for like anxiety and PTSD and all that crap, but we're not going into that. We're going into what I was prescribed, and they gave me Aprazolam Xanax, and I was prescribed 6 blue a day, which is very high milligrams. And I was forgetting weeks and days of my life, and I was sick of that. And I would smoke weed, and I would notice I don't need this medication. I don't need this medication. So eventually I took them, I poured them down the toilet, I stopped taking them and just smoked purely strong indicas that helped kind of chill me out. So I can agree, like Tom's or Tim Serber, at certain medications and that nature, I mean, I'm no doctor or anything, but what I did was I stopped taking Xanax and Klonopin and benzos that they would prescribe me years ago for that anxiety and PTSD specifically, and I replaced it with high doses of indica cannabis, and it really helps me in my day-to-day life, and I've not had to take any medication or anything like that. So, for some of us, cannabis does help. It does is a very life-changing, organic medicine that helps us, either be better people, think better, feel better, or it medically treats us, you know. But yeah,
Cannabis is it's an interesting thing. I think it's a shame that it's been demonized and demonetized and frowned upon and looked down upon. And I feel like everything that they said about cannabis in the reefer madness era could be directly applied to alcohol.
yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, isn't this exactly that? So I don't know. I think it was just something that they saw as a threat to profits, and from the pharmaceuticals to paper to clothing to all these different things in the industries, and that's why they had shut it down.
Yo, shout out to your boy Troy Catfishing. What's up, man? We're just chilling, having our podcast. It's more relaxed. We're halfway through the docket and, and just talking about different things, throwing ideas back and forth that we had on the docket here. We got, hold on, roasted goat. Cheers, all. Cheers.
Roast,
And, speaking of cheers, roasted all,
roasted.
shout out to you guys, Canna family. We are at 1,473 subscribers, and that is mind-boggling to us. When we first
Wow.
started this channel, I thought solidly we would get 800 subscribers, honestly, but we knew so much, and I feel like we did bring something different to the table than other people did,
Well, and
you
we
know.
keep getting after it too, you know. We're not slowing down, we're not stopping. We just keep pumping
Okay.
as much as we can every week and
Yeah.
doing a lot, really.
Yeah, we put 3 to 5 videos out usually for you guys, and
It
but
just
we,
depends between your
yeah, and a bunch of
schedule, my
shorts.
schedule.
Yeah, then we do lives. We're going to be doing probably 2 lives this week plus a Munchie Monday. If everything goes good, cross fingers, there'll be another amazing recipe. And as I said, we're not bringing normal things like your brownies, your this, your that. We're bringing these intricate recipes, including things you wouldn't even think of infusing as far as food and drink. So it'll
Well,
definitely
I'm
be
pretty
interesting.
creative. I'll sit there and I'll think about how I can get
But
things into things and avoid that temperature, or if I have to go into the temperature, I know what temperatures I can cook within and all different things too. So there's so many ways to do things, and you can infuse anything.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. You just got to know how, and we're going to show you guys
Imagination.
how. Yep, yep, we have plenty of imagination. But cheers to you, Roasted All, and everybody in the chat and the Canna family. Thank you guys so much. It's greatly appreciated. So, this is to you guys. If you have something rolled up, packed up, and ready to go, cheers. Oh, yeah, that's where it's at. Um, your boy Troy catfishing, understandable, bro. Like, sometimes like your life's going good, your content's flowing good, and then like one little thing happens either in IRL or on YouTube, and it's just like it puts you behind on content. And that's kind of where we were at, why we started the stream so late. So I apologize to a lot of you guys that'll probably be watching tomorrow, the next day, and the day after this week. you know so I mean, ideally we wanted to get start early, but there's just so much going on, good and bad. But no worries, everything is all good in the Two Buds in a Jar studio. So we'll have tons of content coming out. It's just sometimes your boy Troy, you do fall back on content, but no problem, you'll get back on it and just keep following that path and pushing out them videos and them shorts, having interaction and engagement with your people watching, your little, group that you build, and, you'll get back on track. We do it here too at Two Buds in a Jar. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, we're perfect. No, we fuck up at least once or twice. Sometimes we don't have our mics on. We're sitting
Oh
there
yeah.
recording videos. Sometimes Harry, Harry's got a famous one. Let him explain it.
Well, there's a wire that I need to plug into the audio equipment so that it plugs into the camera so we can hear the mics. And I somehow always forget to plug that thing in because of B-roll. I don't need it for B-roll. That's normally muted. I don't have to worry about that. But then I forget to plug the cord back in, so we're sitting there like, why is the audio so quiet? I don't know. It hears me really well.
Yeah, I'll reiterate on that. Hold up.
Stuff happens.
Tim Serber, what are your days and times that you are live? Our dates and times we are live are usually Mondays.
I'm trying
Um,
to set the watch to that.
yeah, 100% 5 to 6 o'clock Eastern
I'd say
Standard.
7. It's 5 to 7 we like to
Yeah,
talk, and
five
sometimes
to
we go a little
seven.
late.
And we're usually, doing it for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, usually our tops, just because, we've done
The
been
equipment
filming.
will eventually fail.
Yeah, batteries will start to die, and we do have backup batteries, but we don't have tons of them, just two usually per device. But anyway, not to bore you, man. About 5 to 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, usually is where we're at. So we go live, we have dockets, we interact with the audience, we answer questions. No matter what you guys have to, ask, we'll definitely answer down here in the comment section. I'll answer you via like this, like I am now, instead of because it takes a lot to stop text, and that's kind of boring for you guys watching at home. So, I answer you via on just camera. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
eventually we might be able to get a one of our other people that help us sometimes in here and have him do the text responses for us and let us know what people are saying so we can respond a lot quicker. But that's all coming down the pipeline at some point, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, we got a lot coming on the channel, honestly, a lot of things going on. And, we try to do different videos and all kinds of different categories for you guys, such as Munchy Mondays. There's people like edibles, there's people like flower, there's people like to grow. There's a lot that we cover in this huge community because we're trying to bring it all to one channel. Everything and anything you need to know about a cannabis plant, bam, it's right here. And we got tons of videos to put out. We're only at
Well,
988.
and I think
I
it's
mean,
cool too to have a grow journal and resources from several different people. So you can go check out um what was the basement grows or Mr. Grow It or Strand Show, and you can get a lot of people who have grown or are growing or learning or have learned and learn a bunch of things, especially with me, you're kind of a learn along because like I know a lot of stuff about plants, but I've never been able to just grow this plant legally and have all the equipment and stuff. So there is some things I'm learning, but I'm a quick learn. I feel like I'm learning pretty quick.
I'm not going to lie, guys. I mean, I started growing years ago, like way before it was legal in our state. I ain't going to lie about it. Um, because I never seen anything wrong in the plant. So I grew it, learned how to grow it, and had many ups and downs before I got really fluent with it. And I still kind of have some hiccups here and there, but mostly I can produce pretty dank crops. I know a lot about stuff, a lot how to enhance your flowering, your crystallization, the size of your buds. I've really studied it through this.
And I think that with any cultivar, in every cultivar, it's kind of a new learn. Like every time you put new seeds of a different cultivar, it's like a kind of a brand new journey because one might be a hybrid or one might be a sativa, the next one might be an indica,
Yeah.
and they all grow a little bit differently. They have different demands for their climates.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's
And as long as your conditions are fine, Can
environment,
Fam, yeah, and
environment.
your environment altogether and your equipment's running efficiently, but you got to understand each one of these like a hybrid, a sativa, and an indica. If it's more predominantly, let's say the hybrid sativa, then you want to run it a little warmer. If it's predominantly, indica, you want to run it a little cooler. Indicas are more in cooler climates. Now, there is a base where you can keep cannabis, but if you can look up these specs on your particular cultivar, it'll help further your grow. So, I mean, honestly,
Yeah, yeah, I mean, and then getting those specs and just making sure you can get some information on the seeds that you're growing. If you're growing out of a bag seed, if you know that cultivar, you can still go online and look up that information. If it's a bag seed, it might deviate a little bit from what it says, but it's going to be close enough to where you can use that information to grow that plant well.
yeah, absolutely. But getting back to the docket here, we got a little, far away from it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like to do that
Yeah,
sometimes.
me too. You'll see that with this, the podcast here at Two Buds in a Jar. We kind of stray away from the topics sometimes, but new study shows cannabis use helps every day fight opiate addiction. Now, I could say you're replacing one thing. Now, humans are
Creature of habit.
creature of habit. So, what you're going to see is if you get into the habit of using cannabis instead of, let's say, using opiates, and don't kill me here, YouTube. I'm trying to say how to use something organic against something pharmaceutical. Yeah, but you can replace those. And I've seen a lot of people that I don't know personally, but I have seen and I mean, like, met. in places I've been, because you walk through some rough parts of town sometimes and stuff, and you meet some people, but they tell me their story, and that's what they've been doing. And it seems to be, the truth, because I'd be going through that area this, couple days filming this, that, and see those same people. So it's cool to see that it does help with opiate addiction. I think if you mixed a strong indica with, because you're into that, you're kind of into being sedated, kind of. And that's, the thing. I think it's a good organic treatment because it does, activate dopamine receptors. And that's what that pain medication does. Cannabis does, in high concentrated amounts, block different pain receptors. So that's another thing that you're craving. You're craving the overall numbness and the tingling and the, euphoria. And cannabis provides that as well in high amounts. So
Right, I would imagine it would help with that whole nausea issue that you have.
yeah, that, and you won't be, doing something, technically, I mean, that's destroying your body, your liver, it's eating your muscle tissue. Now, some people do got to be, on pain medication, but if you can, replace that with cannabis and you're able to do that, but in this, for instance, they're
Well,
talking about an opiate addiction. So
right.
somebody, yeah, so,
Well, I think if it's for yeah, for that, then your cannabis. But if it's for pain, I would almost think going CBD or a really strong indica is a good
yeah.
way to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you
I
shouldn't mix them both if you want the buzz, because if you mix them both, the CBD will destroy your THC high.
Yeah, and there's other cannabinoids that are concentrated that are not those weird pens that they used to make with all that lab stuff that we covered. But honestly, you can find different cannabinoids that have that same reaction. So you can get the same buzz and the same sensation just from a more organic, concentrated substance such as cannabis. So I think it's plausible, you know.
Right.
Um, let's see here. We got cannabis is safe for pain management and sleep, as science and studies have shown. So it shows right here what we just talked about, that it is a good sleep alternative and pain management.
Well, I can understand the pain management part. Now with the sleep part, the issue I have with that is cannabis does have this issue where it prevents you from getting REM sleep,
Yeah.
and that you
Yes.
kind of do need REM sleep.
You do, to kind of feel rested. That's why you wake up in the morning and you feel groggy, guys, after you smoked a lot. And it's really just initially because, um, oh well, I
That
mean,
you're not getting that
you're
full
not getting that
shutdown. You're
full
not getting the
sleep.
REM sleep. That's
Yeah,
called rapid eye movement.
yeah,
And if
yeah.
you're not getting that deep sleep, then you're not getting a full rest.
Yep, yep, absolutely. And that's why you're waking up feeling groggy, like your head's like I always used to say like a mushy bowl of cereal. That's what my head felt like in the morning because
Like
I'd smoke
like
chronic all
like
fucking
you're
day
sitting
and
in
just
this room right
wake,
now.
yeah, yeah, wake up the next day and just be like stuck on stupid, Hold on, we got okay, last question. I got a lot of what they call smalls from some online sellers after smoking with them for a while. I thought these little buds were good. Are they popular? Okay, to be honest, Tim Serber, um, okay, smalls. Okay, if you imagine a cannabis plant, canna family, it has the big apical bud at the top, that big main bud, and it has, larger buds than medium buds. The smalls are usually the popcorn buds at the lower tiers, so they ultimately see lower, light. They ultimately see lower crystallization, which is THC potency, so it's less likely to be psychoactive because it's on the bottom part of the plant. It isn't like the top sheer or top shelf buds, excuse me. So you're going to see a lot of less coloration, a lot of less crystallization with the trichomes on the cannabis. I'm not saying it's bad, but that's usually why they sell them at dispensaries, is you can get deals on them because they're not the top shelf, top tier buds
Depending on
or colas in the plant.
depending on their grow setup, which I would imagine they
I gotta
probably
shut
don't
this
have
window.
a ton of side lighting going on, but depending on their setup, the further the plant gets away from the light, the more diminishing values, the less yield those nugs are going to produce. That's why those top cores are real big and they bulk up and look beautiful. And those bottom buds are tiny and they're never as crystally as what you'll see in the middle or the top. So I would say those kinds of buds, they're not horrible. You can still get a buzz from them, but they're better for making like edibles or um, something of that nature, really, with because they're not. I mean, they're still good. It's not terrible.
Yeah, it's not like I'm sitting here saying it's terrible, but
It's
that
not like
is
you can't
the,
smoke it. Like it's
yeah.
still fine. It's just it's not gonna be that super crystally bud from the top.
Yeah, yeah, it's not, it's just going to be the little popcorn buds. If you ever seen maybe a cannabis plant in real life, it just has those little popcorn buds at the bottom. And, that's pretty much what you're getting. It's not top tier, but it's not like the medium-sized colas. It's more at the bottom of the plant, and that's why they didn't. Usually you train the plant, you'll have branches like that with buds that don't develop at the bottom of it, and you'll just cut those right off. That will direct those hormones and that energy to the plant up toward larger colas. And that's what you want instead of your plant's energy being spread out from branch to branch, creating these little wispy, ugly nuggets that you can't do anything with or cure. So it's better to take that loss. I know as a stoner, it's like, damn, these are small, but there's a bunch. But if you cut them up, you'll have and take them off your plant. That'll direct those hormones. They're called growth auxins. They'll direct up the stalk of the tree and it'll help get your colas ultimately larger.
Right, right. And
Yeah.
I struggle with this, especially in that tiny tent, because I can't access everything. I tried to do the best I could with it, but I know there's still some spots where I'm like, I should have clipped that off. Yep, I should have removed that. It looks cool though. I like my little bud hedge. Yeah, I grew in a tiny tent. Oh, is that a type of seed or something? What's talk
Uh,
about?
that's what Tim Serber. Smalls are easier to grow. I mean, yeah, to be honest, yeah. I mean, if you're talking about like the smaller buds at the bottom of the plant, yeah, it's going to occur naturally, and you're going to have them there, absolutely. And when you do, it's just going to be the lower tier because there's not a lot of sun, like Harry said, there's not a lot of sunlight penetration, which doesn't mature the bud a lot. So you don't get a lot of terpenes. You don't get a lot of,
Cannabinoids.
yeah, cannabinoids
Which you still
altogether.
get some,
Yeah.
because it does get distributed throughout the plant at some rate, but it's less as it goes down.
And you'll see deals on this type of stuff. And don't fall for the shake, guys. Let me tell you why you don't fall for a shake at a dispensary.
You want to
So,
go grab the shake?
no, no. Well,
I mean, we
I
probably
mean,
shouldn't bring it out here. It's not
yeah,
good for the camera.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, YouTube will age restrict it. But anyway, basically, the shake, what they do at a dispensary, guys, is what they'll cut sugar leaves from the buds, and the sugar leaves will be in the bud trim. So they'll put their bud in a big trimmer. It'll cut off the normal leaves. Then it'll run through a second trimmer. There, it'll cut off maybe a little parts of bud and mostly sugar leaves, and that's what you're getting. You're not getting actual shake even that's, where your nugs is kind of friction
Sugar
together.
leaves, pretty much,
Yeah,
is what you're
yeah, yeah,
getting.
yeah, you're getting
Which
sugar
sugar
leaves.
leaves are good, especially for making edibles, but for a
Yeah.
smoke, they're not really great. They're harsh.
Yeah, if you want to get it at a dispensary and make edibles, there you go. Yeah.
Well, you got to be careful too, though, because then you got to look at them and be like, "Where did you use fungicide on this? Did you use pesticides on this? What kind of treatments were you using to deal with pests? Because if they're using neem, it might be all right, but if they were using anything else, you might want to second think putting that in something you're going to eat.
Yeah, it's true, Jacob.
That's why it's best to have it grown
Yeah.
at home, so you know if what anything was done to it, you know what was done. You know,
I'm reading here on this.
going back to the dope.
The old docket. Cannabis taxes rise 2 times what it's worth. Will stoners grow indoors? Now, I don't know about your local area, but it is going up where we are at. Usually by every 2, 3 weeks, it seems like this is the second time it's gone up.
I'd say that's a interesting question because like I think the people that have the
I
passion to
mean,
grow and have the drive to try and do it will, but it is a tricky thing and there is a lot more trial and error, especially in the beginning. I know I've started outdoors with a bunch of different other kinds of plants and um so I had some experience in looking at deficiencies and pests and issues from a long time ago. So coming into it now, it's like just refreshing all that stuff and now all the new stuff because back then I had like the Grower's Bible, which had information in it, but it wasn't like really organized and easy. It wasn't an easy read, you know. It was there was a lot and there was a lot of misconceptions in there at the time too, probably some bad information. So
yeah, yeah, it's a navigational book, but yeah, I gotta say, um, I yeah, no problem, Tim Server. Like I said, man, we're just here to answer questions and hang out with you guys and go over this here docket that we're halfway through almost, and but cannabis taxes, I gotta say, are ass. We have a $20 sales tax where we're at. So if we're buying $15 gummies, add $20 to it. Now it's $35 gummies. So if you're buying a $60 cart, well, make sure you have 80 some dollars plus tax.
yeah, I mean, I do think if given the option, I do see a lot of people trying to grow on for themselves. Growing is a
What's evil is their taxation on the plant, not the damn plant itself. That's what. I think it should be free for people, man. Free the plant, man.
free the plant,
Free the plant.
free the plant.
Yeah, for
We're
real.
gonna start a protest
Yeah.
online for the plant.
Yeah, 22. Yeah, two buds in a jar. Free the plant. And Tubes, man, YouTube's been pretty cool, dude, to
Yeah,
us. I
yeah,
gotta say, shout out to YouTube for once. Thank you,
yeah,
guys.
yeah. Google's
Like,
been pretty cool on
thank you
YouTube.
for putting our notifications out there. Thank you for letting us get audience and people in finally instead of age restricting everything, even with things like, I'll never forget the time we did put a 10 up for a budget, and it was me, you, we were vaping. You had a disposable device, and I had a
A
monk.
regular.
And we were just vaping, Can of Family, and they age restricted it, and then I appealed it, and they still age restricted it back then, and I'm just like, I
We
don't,
didn't even put a plant in it. We typically got
we
a
didn't
brand
even
new
cuss in
plant.
it.
It was a
Like,
brand new
yeah,
plant, a brand new tent with nothing in there, just showing up, saying, "Hey, this is how you set it up, and this is how we're gonna run it." And
yeah, they were not happy about it, guys. They were not happy about it. They were like, oh, hell no.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it. And then we'll do another video, and they'll be like, "Yeah, that's fine. All right, cool." I don't understand the YouTube's thing that they do. It's just like, it is what it is. Just make a new video and move on.
Um, yeah, oh man. Okay, Tim Serber says they said the smalls actually have more area overall for all the terpenes. Okay. Um, Man, they're okay, dispensaries are cool, man. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like they have a good idea. But and he already knows where I'm going with this. But dude, even the percentage I'm telling you right now, and if you don't believe me, fine, that's fine. There's a bunch of other people and data and everything out there. Just look it up, is all I'm saying, Can of Fam. Um, but they lie and they pay laboratories about percentages of terpenes, percentages of THC. Um, they lie about a lot of things, and if you look up kind of the small buds, they are at the bottom of the plant, and that does get less coverage. And light does help the buds photosynthesize, and it does help them mature. So ultimately, you're getting fully more mature buds, you're getting more coloration, you're getting more terpenes, you're getting more coloration. Now, probably why they said that also, and I'll tell you, is they spray their cannabis with terpenes. So if they pick the bottoms of them off and they are terpy, like if you get these smalls for instance, and they do have a strong dank stank to it, then they probably sprayed it and they have natural organic terpenes. So it's not like they're spraying it with any kind of crazy chemicals or nothing. It's just concentrated terpenes they got from that particular strand, and they're spraying over your cannabis because it doesn't have that dank aurora to it to attract in a customer. And there's all types of videos on this. So depending in your local state and area, I would check, has your dispensary done anything that maybe you would consider shady?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
honestly.
barely legal and all somehow
Yeah.
already corrupt.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
wouldn't imagine the machines they have in the cannabis industry, the things that they can do to bud to make it go from they can take moldy bud and clean it, sterilize it, spray it with terpenes, slap
Yeah.
it in a bag, and send it out the door, and you could smoke it and it'd be fine.
Small.
It'll taste great.
Maybe
You
I'm
won't get sick because it's been sterilized,
maybe
and
I'm
you would
mis
never know. Maybe Smalls are a cultivar.
yeah, maybe something I'm misunderstanding here. That's why I want to make sure.
Are you talking about like seeds, beans, seeds?
No, he's talking about smalls like the buds on a plant. I may misinterpret that because it may sound similar to something else. Hold on. I'm pretty sure.
You're checking it out, trying to see if we're
Oh,
misunderstanding. Hmm.
yeah.
I don't know, man. Well, I mean, yeah, maybe, because there are different ways you can grow a plant too. You can grow a plant purely for quantity. You can grow that plant purely for quality. And different plants do grow in different sizes. And have different demands for their pot sizes as well, depending on the size that they grow and how long they take to flower. Because typically, you really want a cubic foot of dirt per month per growth of plant, and anything less than that, it really isn't enough. Would you agree?
Hold on.
Okay, so still trying to figure this out. Getting down to the bottom of this with some investigation
Yeah, I
research.
might have misinterpreted
There was a
this.
misunderstanding.
Yeah, I think there was a misunderstanding because I seen what I was talking about, and then I see this as kind of okay.
Similar. Yeah, and the words, language is so crazy
Oh, okay.
because there's so
So,
many words that means
okay.
the same thing and different things and
Yeah.
multiple
I
meanings.
understand the terminology here, and I apologize, Tim Server, because I mistaken that for something different. I thought you meant the smalls, like a tiny nuggets that are sold in dispensaries. Now I see what you're saying. Yes, those are the bigger buds with colas, honestly, but the things with the dispensaries do apply. They do have shady practices and shady work. I thought you meant those smaller nuggets that they find at the bottom of the plant that usually don't develop, and they do spray with terpenes put out to people for cheaper prices. Now that I see what you're talking about, you meant the larger, more formed, but they call them smalls for some reason. That's weird. That was a terminology for the buds at the bottom.
Yeah, that's what I would think, but I don't know,
Yeah.
man. They like to flip things around all the time and switch up terminologies.
Yeah, it's good that you
Happens.
only order from online. I don't blame you. You got more of a variety too. You got a lot of exotics. You got a lot of different concentrates, edibles, drinks, things of that nature. I order all my genetics offline, and Harry has too. And
I mean, I think, yeah, most of my genetics have came from Hydro Gardens and Lights. Shout out to Hydro Gardens and Lights.
yeah, you guys are awesome
And
out there.
Dustin, he's given me a ton of seeds, so and he still has a ton of seeds too. He's trying to push on me. He's like, these jelly donuts don't pop, which I really hope they pop. Looking forward to the cotton candy, the
Oh, excuse
caramel,
me.
the fuel, the
Yeah.
the coloration, the way they looked. Like, man, if these seeds don't pop, I'm gonna be a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, sometimes they're done, sometimes they're not. But yeah, ordering anything and everything to do with cannabis offline is always better. I'd have to say than going to the actual dispensary. But I mean, the stuff is still from it. It's a rough game. It depends how your dispensary is in your area and
Yeah,
where you go.
it really depends on your
Yeah.
area. If you're in a recreational area, then it should be fine. But if you're in like an area that's more locked down with it, then you might um Be careful.
Yeah, cannabis taxes are high though in our state. What it's like for you guys in your state? Let me know down in the comments section below. I know it can be high. Ours is $20 sales tax, so $20 added to everything you buy. So, but it says right here. They keep changing cannabis laws in Ohio. Now, I mean, I don't know much about Ohio, but I
They
do
changed
follow
them
those laws.
again?
Yeah, they do often see Ohio's laws changing again, and they moved it from 12 plants per person to 6 plants per person. And it was 6 plants per person to begin with, if you think about it. And secondly, plants can often produce more than the set amount of cannabis that's allowed by the state of Ohio. It says you're allowed 2.5 ounces, which is 2.5 ounces of cannabis. So if a plant grows and you produce more than 2.5 ounces, that puts you in a little gray area.
Hmm.
And that's horrible for Ohioans. I mean, honestly, you know.
Yeah, I don't think that I don't know. I just don't think that was actually really fully fleshed out and thought out really.
Yeah,
They were
yeah.
like, "Oh, okay, you can grow, but I can if I grow a photo period plant and I really take my time with it and really do a good job with it, I could grow a pound into my 2x4 plant tent from that one photo period plant and a few
Yeah.
properly placed trellis nets."
Yeah. And Tim Serber says, thanks, no problem, Canafam. Um, they keep changing Ohio cannabis laws. Oh, yeah, we're talking about that currently. Sorry, guys. That amnesia haze giving you the old amnesia. But I think, okay, this is what I've read, guys, to give you a little bit of information. They basically told people that they can have 2.5 ounces of pot. But we both know, and if any of you guys watching out there that grow and have experience growing, that a plant can produce way more cannabis than that, then I highly suggest, it's a gray area and it kind of leaves you in that legal representation to where it's like, yes, it is to grow 6 plants per person. It was never legal to begin with to grow 12. I mean, it
I
was always six per person from when I
I
first seen it.
guess as soon as you can get it cured, you just got to start smoking.
Okay.
Just gotta
So
smoke it
yeah,
down to your
that's
limit as
yeah,
fast as you can.
yeah,
Come on, boys, it's ready.
yeah. Yeah, to the Ohioans out there watching, if you grow more than 2.5 ounces, make sure you either stash it or toke it.
Just
You
toke it
know,
down. Just start
God.
rolling gibbers and sparking up. We gotta.
And it says you can also have up to 7 grams of concentrate. So let's say you grow 4 plants. Of course, now you have 2.5 ounces. So you're like, well, I'm going to make some concentrates or some edibles. Well, if you have more over the 7 gram amount. So, and how they do that kind of family is crazy. So if you make concentrates, you're just like, well, I'd grow all these plants and turn them into concentrates. Well, guess what? They're going to weigh up all those. They're going to see it's way over 7 grams. Then they're going to charge you with it. And it's like Ohio's cannabis laws just do not make sense. And you're allowed to grow 6 plants at home. And if there's more than two people, like there's two people where I live, then that's 12 I could grow if I wanted to. But they said you can't grow 12 per person, and that never was the fucking case. Because when it first came out and they legalized cannabis, I think it was this year or last year, I can't remember. No, last year, when they legalized cannabis. Basically, it was just, it was 6 plants per person per household. And they're like, you can't grow 12. You have to go back to 6 per person. It's like, it was never 12, you dumb fucks. It's like, make up your mind there. I'm sorry. I just, they just need to legalize this nationwide and be done with it, man. If it grows outside freely, who gives a shit? It's not going to hurt nobody. It's a plant.
Well, I mean, okay, so if it grows outside freely and we end up with hermaphrodites or males out there, it could harm us, the growers. The people trying to study it could affect our grows and contaminate our plants with unwanted seeds.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, it could be harmful to propagation or cultivation.
Yeah, Tim brought up a good idea, man. Those are called popcorn buds. I was getting them confused for fucking small. But also, there was a couple companies, but they were HHC and THCA, just specifically with no THC. Just THC, weird stuff they extracted completely. No THC. Turn it into THC, basically, like the buds. But yeah, no, man. I got them confused because they're called smalls as well, and they're the little nuggets that are shown at the bottom of the plant. So then that's what I was thinking. I'm like, oh no. But yeah, those are totally two different things. So, and I forgot it was called popcorn buds. That amnesia haze, man, that's what it is. I'm telling you, I blame it on the amnesia haze can of family. That's got my head spinning. Usually I'm pretty on point with this stuff. But what was I saying? Let's see here. North Carolina tries to ban North Carolina is going to allow cannabis to grow.
North Carolina?
Yeah, yeah, they're going to allow people to grow cannabis in medical use.
Probably
So that's cool,
they probably grow some good cannabis
Yeah,
over there. You think
yeah,
they have a
yeah,
pretty stable environment, I'd say.
yeah.
But it gets a little chilly there too. I don't know. Well, I'll have to see what comes out of North Carolina, see what they produce over there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, it would be great to get some killer strands. And the cool thing about different states starting up and stuff is so many different companies are working so many genetics. So you at home cultivars can grow so many different strands. And that's what we try to bring to you. Harry had two different strands growing at the same time. I have one growing at the same time because I try to grow a lot at one time each time I grow. And he grows different with two different tents. I grow with one giant singular tent, but it brings a lot of different strands, and that's what we try to do, strand after strand, to show you guys multiple. And we're just going to keep doing it. There's so many strands,
Well,
you
I do
know.
experiments with plants too. I'll do some pretty crazy things to plants sometimes if I want to do. Um, like I've already did the cloning
Yeah,
experiments,
the low
moisture
stress
propping
training.
experiments, and then I turned that into a completely different challenge of
Yeah.
can I make this plant grow in this tent and turn it into like a nice hedge? Like I want to see a bush in there. And that's what I made. It was pretty cool.
Hey, shout out to 323 Will. Nice to see the stream, guys. One of my favorite YouTube channels.
Awesome.
Thank you. We greatly appreciate that, Canna family. We try to do as much as possible and bring it to you guys just all in one channel. We are greatly appreciative of supporters. Because, like I said earlier, when I first started this and thought about it on the couch, hit my bong, how I wanted to bring my cannabis passion and knowledge to you guys, and Harry wanted to help me. It was just how to do it. And I thought we would only get up to 800 subscribers. I mean, the fact that one of our videos got 16,000 views is mind boggling to me. I mean, everybody's brought to it. And it's like, man, I wish they were brought to our stuff
What
because
one day
it's
we'll get that video that surpasses it one
yeah,
day.
yeah, one day we'll get more views on one video than that one, and hopefully, or people that come in to check out the channel will see that because that's higher production and better quality. But thank you, Canna family, it's greatly appreciated. Because of you guys, we keep pushing content out, and because of passion for the plant as well, and just the following of a dream and an idea, honestly. So we bring all of our knowledge and anything that we know and have learned over the many years, myself growing, we bring to the channel and, put out to you guys. We build a great community. It has a lot of positive vibes in it. You guys are great, honestly. I mean, I see nothing but positive comments in the comment section, and I answer those usually as they come in. And Harry's the editor and cameraman, so, and I'm usually the host, and I write the scripts and come up with what we're doing that day, usually. And, I also thought to do a podcast as well every Monday because I always wanted to, and, it's just going to get better. So thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, that's awesome,
Definitely.
man.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Hold on.
Ooh, we got more.
323 Will says we're one of the only channels to cover sativas. We appreciate it.
Oh,
No
really?
problem. No problem. Our preferences.
We like indigos, really,
Yeah,
but
we
we
like,
still cover the sativa.
yeah, we still cover the sativas. We're going to grow tons of different sativa strands. So you're going to see those. You'll get to hear info how certain strands need more CalMag when they grow, this, that, the other. So
Yeah.
there'll be plenty
Yeah,
of
we could
sativa.
probably even start like mention that. It does seem like even the hybrid, the Gorilla Cookies, does seem to
Yeah.
have a little bit higher demand, especially when you're adding CO2.
Yeah,
Once you start
yeah.
adding
Yes.
CO2, these plants they definitely seem like they want more calcium, magnesium.
Yeah, yeah. But we noticed that too. Honestly, I didn't see too many channels doing sativas, and I was just like, why not cover a lot of those? Why not cover a lot of indicas, a lot of hybrids, you know? And I know a lot of people out there watching. We took a poll a while ago, and you guys are mostly sativas. There was like 33% indica. There was like a lower percentile of hybrid, and there was like a 74%, 64% sativa. So a lot of you guys wanted to know about them. A lot of you guys wanted to, find out all different things about the strands, the cultivars, and I thought of throwing a lot of different exotics. We're going to have more exotic strand videos coming out as well, just different cultivars you guys may never heard of, but they'll be in sativas, there'll be some in hybrid, there'll be some in indicas as well. I know we covered just borderline exotics, and we just did the sativa exotics too. So, I mean, we'll just be doing more predominantly sativa ones that I find since they were sativa hybrids that time, I
Right.
guess. Yeah, is what I'm trying to say. But let's see right here. Texas tries to ban and wants to ban any and all cannabis products. Well, that doesn't surprise me, okay? Because, I mean, ain't nothing wrong with Texas. From what I've learned, they have a lot of good barbecue and a lot of good grilled food. But
Wait, you think Joe Rogan's gonna move?
probably, probably,
Texas
I would,
bans all the cannabis
yeah,
products, so they might lose Joe Rogan,
wouldn't doubt it. I
and then his
wouldn't
whole
doubt it.
group will leave because they're
But
gonna follow Joe.
I mean, you got to think that's a very heavy, gun state. They, enjoy their firearms, which nothing wrong with that. I mean, I happen to be, enjoy my firearms as well. I love them too. It's another thing I know a lot about. So, I mean, it's one of those states that, really are that way, and they don't think intoxication is the best option due to the fact that most people carry handguns and, you're not supposed to mix those two together necessarily. So, they're more leaning toward, and that's that whole state and the Congress and stuff.
Well, I think it's ridiculous that uh, I don't think, they let people with alcohol and guns. Obviously you're not supposed to be intoxicated with a gun, but that's not frowned upon.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like that's way more dangerous than somebody, 'cause somebody on cannabis is going to be way more cautious around something that's dangerous, whether it's driving or a firearm, scissors, a knife. Like typically, like you're not gonna be too lackadaisical with these things, and if you're feeling like you might hurt yourself, typically you'll probably not do the task at all.
Yeah. I gotta say, I go to the range a lot, and I do all that stuff, but I'm very careful with what I do, and it's just a hobby I enjoy, and it taught me some mechanical skills, and but I'm very careful with that, and I hate that type of stigma. Now, do I think you should operate vehicles and firearms and fireworks and heavy machinery when you're under the influence of cannabis? No, I think cannabis is more a recreational relaxation type thing, more so than a something to go do things of that nature out on, I guess. It's not that type of, because you are perceived running slower, yes, but the world around you is moving at a normal pace. So, you know, your perception may be a little off. So, I mean, but I have seen people drive safer when they're stoned.
Well,
I
that's what
mean,
the statistics would say.
yeah, I have seen people not do foolish things like if they own firearms, I don't see them operating them, you know, or messing with them. They're just in a safe or what have you, like, you know, they should be or whatever, however you choose to keep them, whatever. But, you know, I don't see people doing anything of that nature. So I think they need to, you know, let people that want to have that option in Texas have that option in Texas.
Yeah, that is wild. That's sad to hear that they're gonna ban. Cause then they just like I thought it was legal there. Now they're gonna ban it all.
No, it was never legal in Texas, and you
Well,
know,
I thought it was. I thought there was like medical or it
uh,
was like recreational to some extent there.
roasted goat says absolutely. I agree, but they should, you know, they should absolutely let people have the opinion because, you know, if they want to smoke cannabis, that's fine. If they want to go, you know, paintballing in their recreational time, they should be allowed to do that. If they want to go on their property and shoot a shotgun at a couple milk jugs or whatever the hell they're doing, should be allowed to do that, you know, as long as you can operate under those conditions specifically. But
But again,
you
too,
know,
like
there's not everybody that can do that,
well,
you know. So
well,
it depends on the person, but you
it
should give people legal rights to cannabis,
it does
you know.
just like anything. There's some people, you know, that just have really high tolerances and their cannabinoid systems just work better on cannabis. There are people out there that just, you know,
Yeah.
they wouldn't function as well without
Yeah. Yeah, it becomes a norm, man. Like after you smoke for so long, you just feel normal, but you know you've had cannabis. You can tell when you haven't. You're just like, you know, blah, you know, and agitated or may drop some things. I drop things. I don't really get too much agitated. I just drop things sometimes because I go to grab stuff and it's not like my depth perception's off. It's just like I might, you know, grab something real quick and not grab it hard enough,
um,
you know, and just like slides out of my hand and stuff like that. But with, you know, if I'm stoned, I have quicker, you know, quick reaction time. I'm pretty good with all that. So, you know, it's like I feel just normal, I guess, is the best way to describe it. I get buzzed, but I feel normal, you
right,
know,
like
when I smoke weed.
yeah, and then
That's the best way to
that's
describe it.
probably a bad thing. But yeah, once you have such a high tolerance, it almost becomes like caffeine. Like I would have to drink a lot of caffeine to feel anything from it.
Same. I mean, I drink energy drinks and I have for years, ones without sugar and all that happy stuff in it. But, you know, I've never had any negative side effects. Like, you know, there's been, you know, studies or not studies, but, you know, news media's preaching. But, you know, I got to have them or I just don't wake up. I'm in like a daze and a fog all day. So, you know, cannabis is one of those things. I've been smoking it for so long that I think nothing of it. Even when it was illegal, you know, I'd catch myself in mislighting out up in public and different places I shouldn't, you know. There's been times I've hit carts and places I shouldn't, you know. I mean, but none of that kind of matters now. It's legal now. But, you know, I think everybody has, and we shouldn't have to hide, as my point, as smokers in our houses or this or that, just because, you know, it's frowned upon. I don't like the smell of cigarettes particularly. It's not my favorite thing. I used to smoke cigarettes. I don't now. Obviously, I vape, but you know, I think you should be allowed to smoke cannabis outside. I don't see why you can't. If you can smoke cigars and cigarettes, why outside, why can't you smoke weed? It just don't make sense. You know, like you have to go in your, it's legal, but you have to go hide in your residence and smoke it and hotbox your house. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that, but after a while, sometimes you want some air movement. And your house is looking because you've been blazing all day. That's how Harry's looks. His house.
Um, I, it's like I'm 50-50 with it, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't want plumes of cannabis smoke in certain areas, right? But I think that there should be some common sense and some common courtesy used in a public environment when smoking.
Yes. Absolutely. Like, if you're smoking in a park and like, you're going to light up and there's like kids over there, I mean, use your brain.
Yeah,
Don't smoke there. Don't be a
probably
dick.
go downwind
Yeah,
somewhere where
go
the
down
kids aren't.
somewhere else. If there's elderly people or people meeting, just have common courtesy, but I think you should be allowed to smoke in parks. I don't think you should be allowed to like smoke in restaurants and Walmarts and this and that and whatever store or restaurants near you. So that's not what I'm saying here. But I do think you should be allowed to smoke in public if you're walking down the sidewalk. I mean, you're walking past people's residences, businesses, but you do the same thing with a cigarette. I don't see why cannabis should be treated any different personally. And I think it smells better than tobacco burning. I mean, pipe tobacco, don't get me wrong, smells pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, but cannabis I feel smells even better. So, you
Uh,
know,
it is a tricky one because
I mean, I understand not smoking around like elderly other people that don't want to be
I,
around it and not smoking around kids,
I
period,
guess maybe
or
I
animals,
guess maybe
you
then
know.
the only fight there could be, well, if you go to this place and you walk around and smoke, now you're going to be stuck there for several hours till you sober up, if you will.
Yeah, like I think it should be treated like that too. Like if you get too sloshed, you shouldn't have went out in public, like, it's just same on alcohol or anything. So if you're like, I'm gonna take this whole 10 bags of edibles to the face and go on a jog, and then you're on the ground because you just passed out from the edibles or
Oh,
whatever the
green
case may
out.
be. I mean,
Oh
that's
man,
just
that
a
would
made
suck to
up.
be in public and green out.
Yeah,
The
you're
worst
greening out.
experience.
So, I mean, if that happens, can a family, then I can totally understand. Like, yeah, you shouldn't be doing all that. If you're that tore up, stay home or just don't do that. Harry Cole over there falling through equipment. No, I'm just kidding. Can a family? Something fell over. It's
Knocking
probably
knickknacks over,
probably
man.
whatnot.
Knickknacks.
But
Chargers and stuff.
yeah, it's fine. But yeah. So honestly, I can understand. So it's just like it should be up to people personally, their choice, what they want to do, how they want to pursue smoking cannabis and using cannabis. I don't think it's a bad idea, you know. But yeah, that's to the people in Texas, I feel bad for you guys, for those of you that want it. I mean, I don't think much is going to change just due to the fact I keep looking at the two things that are left here. But yeah, because I'm like, yeah, I was just seeing how many more we had. I know we went through quite a few of them,
Yeah,
but
we've
I
been
could
chilling
see,
on the stream for a while now. Well,
yeah,
God, the equipment's holding up.
yeah, yeah. Our equipment, every stream we've had, guys, says something has happened. It's been audio, it's been this, it's been that. And I'm not complaining, guys, but I'm glad we could bring you a good actual stream where you can hear us on audio. We're not having problems here. At first, we put a laptop there. It overheated. We didn't have the audio plug hooked into the camera. Then just our mics wasn't turned on, mine died. I'm making sure my light's still on because I can't see it, it's underneath me.
All kinds of. Well, I can
So
see all the batteries here. That's why I just looked at that to check all the batteries at once. The only thing I can't see is the camera battery, but it was charged all the way to last as long as it can.
323 Will says, you guys are right. I live here in Los Angeles. That's awesome. I take a couple of joints when I go on some nature hikes. It's very enjoyable. See, and that's the thing we always go to. It's not like we're, being rude and smoking in front of people. We're going to nature places. Many times where we live at, I've went to different, nature, locations, and I've smoked and blow down. So has Harry. And, it's very peaceful. It's very enjoyable. It helps you find yourself, in tunes yourself with nature, you know.
And if a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to smell it, did the trees fall at all?
Yeah, yeah, Harry. But living in Los Angeles must be really nice, I must say. I mean, you got a big city
Be
and
wild out there,
yeah,
man.
yeah, you get that break away from, all the people and the noise, and you get out into nature and it's really nice. So I can see it, you got to have that equal balance of city life and nature. But yeah,
Yeah, definitely living in a place like
yeah.
that because you hear all kinds of crazy stories about LA.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's a cool place, man. And I'm glad you guys legalized cannabis. I know our state did too not too long ago, and I'm pretty happy about that. I must say it's really nice. I mean, I still been smoking it before, but I mean, and growing it and making concentrates and everything,
Yeah, I've
you
been
know.
a part of the cannabis community for a very long time.
Indeed, Harry, indeed. I must say. Hold on. Okay. But I gotta say, I love going out in nature. We've been to a bunch of different places. We plan to do a bunch of different things and get out and do some content as well for you guys.
Eventually.
Yeah, eventually when the weather breaks, we're starting to have better days here where we're at. It's starting to go from freezing balls to, warm and to thawed. So it's not too much longer before we can get out some, content where we're out about doing things.
Yeah,
We
I don't think it'll be a live stream though. It'd probably be pre-recorded, uploaded videos.
and last but not least, I gotta say, Canna family, on the docket, we have basically people are opting out and growing indoors rather than, and sales are deflating down because taxes keep rising on cannabis. They're going to push as much money like they do with cigarettes and alcohol and get as much money out of it as they can. And that was the plan from the beginning. So, that's why they were like, okay, we'll give you people your weed, but you're going to pay for it. And that's what happened until we, knew how to grow indoors. I feel,
Well, yeah, and growing indoors is a task. You definitely need the space to do it. You do need the equipment. Um, and depending on the environment that you live in, there's just a lot of little things that can throw off your whole ecosystem. So there's a lot of humidifiers or dehumidifiers or extra fans or you know garden ACs and all these things aren't cheap. All these things are
yeah.
very expensive. The lights themselves are very expensive.
Yeah, I have $400 in mine, the one you guys see, and that's I have $400 in the tent, so there's $800, and then it goes up and up and up,
And the
unfortunately.
bigger the space, the bigger the light. Yeah, the
Yep,
more
and
expensive the light.
the bigger the equipment, the more expensive the price of the equipment goes up. That's one thing a lot of these
So
channels won't tell you. Like, if you buy anything from AC Infinity, they're great, but be prepared to spend a lot of money because you can't use any type of other gear with their gear because it ain't going to acclimate to that panel or your phone and you won't be able to control it. So that's something they really kind of don't mention, but you got to
maybe
research to know.
there
And
is things
but they're a great company,
they
absolutely excellent.
they do have additional like basically control switches to where you can power other off-brand devices, but those off-brand devices need to have like presets in them so when they power on, they're on your presets and running at what you need them to run at, opposed to what AC Infinity would offer. It has the controller with the controllers or the AI functions now. They have a lot of stuff going on with that whole setup. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, guys. I mean, honestly, we got videos on it if you guys are interested, and you guys see me and Harry both film from AC Infinity tents every day. We show you guys shorts and updates. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
it would be really cool to check out one of those AC Infinity AI things, but I think the only way we're getting a hold of that or a terraformer is if they'd magically just send us one.
yeah, right, that would be wonderful. I would love a terraformer myself from AC Infinity.
Or the AI thing, the AI
It's
controller just to play with and test out and see
yeah.
how it all works.
Would be cool. Oh, Will, 323 Will. I told my landlord that there's a skunk behind the house. Laugh out loud. Just got a bigger carbon filter. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. That those carbon filters will always help really well, man. I gotta say, I got a carbon filter in mine, and I'm completely nose blind to it until I open my tent, and then I'm like wafted in the face with just gas. And I absolutely love it. I love looking at my plants every day, seeing the bud development. Even when I have issues, I love figuring them out it kind of gives me a challenge.
So
It's rare, but it happens.
with the way my setup is, my smaller tent, I have a carbon filter going out of it, only because it has to be set up that way or the pressures aren't balanced. My smaller tent, it's blowing right into my living room and it's flowering, so my
And
whole living room smells great.
me and Harry both have landlords, so we got to keep, well, where we're at, the smell's legal, but they still don't want us growing because landlords can have that option. So we do keep carbon filters on our stuff so it keeps the smell down so neighbors don't complain. But luckily, where I live, everybody smokes weed, and where Harry lives, most people smoke weed. So, we're not going to dox ourselves, but where we're at, everybody pretty much is stoners. I mean, or they just mind their business and don't give a shit what you're doing. If you're smoking weed, cool, I don't give a fuck. Yeah, yeah, no, pretty
Yeah,
much.
as long as you're not
Yeah.
banging holes in the walls, you're pretty
Yeah,
much good.
yeah, as long as you're not destroying stuff on the property or doing anything illegal, like destruction or, just whatever you can think of.
Craziness.
Yeah, craziness is the best thing for it. Then, yeah. But I've done that before, and there's places I've almost been kicked out way before it was legal in our state. But, landlord came in to fix something. They're like, what's the skunky smell? And it's like, man, yeah, I don't know. There's been a skunk outside my apartment. It pissed and it stinks, and I've been smelling it every time I open my windows. I just straight lied and I don't do that, but it's like, I don't want to get kicked out of where I live. So luckily I moved from there because that landlord was up my ass every time I smoked weed. She was there and, she was just the bane of my existence until I moved. So I know exactly how you feel, you know. Um, but yeah, yeah, I have that same issue. But we have carbon filters on both of ours, AC Infinity carbon filters. And, we do grow gassy strands, but I mean, it's all took out by that filter. I can genuinely say AC Infinity's carbon filters, damn, that's a mouthful, are an amazing product. I gotta say, they definitely work 100%. What do you think, Harry
And
Cole? What's your experience?
so far, I'm putting their HVAC systems and their fans to the test, and they've outlived the cheaper models. So
Yeah,
spending
man.
a little bit extra on the better quality fan might be worth it.
Yeah, yeah, guys. I always say opt out for quality equipment because if not, you'll be replacing it. Harry, tell them what happened when you didn't buy an AC Infinity fan. You bought a cheaper fan. What happened to it in the tent?
Well, it made it through one grow and about halfway through a second grow before it died.
Yeah, yeah. See, and it's just like you don't have to buy. There's tons. There's Gorilla Tent or Gorilla Grow tents. There's AC Infinity. There's Spider Farmer. There's Vivo Sun, VIVO Sun, like the sun in the sky, SUN. So if you guys want to go check any of those brands out for products, but I would use the terminology marry what products you're getting. So if you're getting Vivo Sun this and Vivo Sun that, then I'd stick with Vivo Sun. And then same if you're getting Mars Hydro, if you're getting Spider Farmer, if you're getting Gorilla Grow Tent,
And
if you're getting AC Infinity,
and that's really the same thing
you
you could
know.
say for nutrients too. If you want
Yeah.
to get this certain kind of cow mag or this certain kind of NPK solution, then you might as well just get the whole, figure out everything that they have for Fox Farm, everything they have for Humble,
Yeah.
everything they have for Green Gaio, everything they have for whatever nutrient solution you're looking for to try to figure out what, how advanced that nutrient system is and everything that works in conjunction with that nutrient system. Because if you go and mix and match, you might end up with a big headache and all kinds of problems.
Yes. 323 will. I do recommend a dehumidifier. I got this one. I believe it's called High Sense. HISENSE. Let me go double check that in a minute. But it covers a 1,200, 1,300 square foot area. It's like 100 some bucks, I believe. But it is perfect for carpeted areas, drywall areas. It won't damage. It'll suck the water right up. It holds like a gallon to a gallon and a quarter, I believe. I
Doesn't Spider Farmer also make a garden style dehumidifier that you can hook up to your tent?
I have no idea,
I'm pretty
honestly.
sure they do.
They
Because
do.
I've looked all this stuff up online.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I think
Yeah.
it's Spider Farmer that has it. I can't remember
Let me.
which company, but I know there's a dehumidifier that's like a garden style that you can hook up to your tent if
Yeah.
you're
High
having,
sense.
or maybe you're in an area where it's high humidity or you're having issues with humidity building up in your
Yeah,
tent.
but
But that could be an outtake fan, intake fan issue as well.
I would highly recommend if you need a dehumidifier, well,
It
high
helps with
sense.
flowering. It helps with flowering
Yeah.
greatly.
Yeah, high sense. Well, you can find them. They're HISENSE. It's made it
Growing.
through several grows. It's ran like a champ. All I got to do is empty it, whether it's in my toilet, my sink, my tub, what have you. But it is absolutely awesome. It runs like a beast. It's easy to work. You can hook up a hose to the left side of it. I have a video in my grow setup. If you want to go check it out, you'll see what it looks like. It's a rather larger device. It's probably from the table, I would say it's probably about this big, probably about that wide. It's relatively heavy. So you just place it in an area, you set it. It has settings for up, down, of course. And then it'll show you if the filter on it needs cleaned, which you don't have to buy filters. You can just wash it with Lysol, hot water, what have you, and put it back so you don't have to constantly buy filters to replace it. And then you just pull out the bottom, and it has a large tub that you just, take to your bathroom or sink or outside, wherever the hell, and just dump it. And it's awesome. It is truly awesome. Covers a 1,200, 1,300 square foot area, I believe. But just look them up. They're amazing.
And when you're
Um,
trying to get a dehumidifier, think about if you're using a lung room or if you're putting that in your tent, because if you want a dehumidifier for inside your tent, you want one that doesn't have a bunch of lights on it or lights that you can easily cover up with electrical tape. Don't let them fool you with one that has a bunch of lights and stuff shining on it, because that's not going to be good for your grow, especially if you're trying to put it inside your tent. A lot of these dehumidifiers will put out heat, and if you're
Hyacinths.
flowering, heating up your tent, a little bit of heat heats up your tent really fast. So you got to be careful about stuff like that too. So, yeah, the kind of dehumidifier that you get, the kind of grow that you're doing, indoors, there's a lot of different conditions you're fighting against. If it's carpet, drywall, you definitely don't want to over humidify that lung room. But then you might need a humidifier inside your tent to keep it the right humidity if you have it really dry on the outside and you have that air pulling in, but then if you have an intake pulling in, that could help with minimizing the impact from the lung room. That's kind of what I do because I have a living lung room.
I do too as well, but I found the high sense here. They have a 1.86 gallon 50 pint two speed for 259. They have one for 189 and one for 279. The cheapest one they have is 103, 150. There's one that's 57, and for flowering they're perfect because high sense is pretty, I mean, they're high quality. I've ran mine. I've never turned mine off yet. Besides, when I pull the thing out, it shuts off automatically. You empty it and put it back. It's amazing. My particular model costs 189, so it's about $190, almost $200 roughly, but it's been amazing. And for flowering, it is perfect. You won't have to let your flowers really dry that long. You won't have to, if you hang your plants upside down, you won't have to dry cure them for that long. It will literally pull the moisture. So make sure you're careful. You set it at a specific that your curing room should be, which is, I believe, around 55, 60. It is a little late, so forgive me if I'm wrong on those numbers, but your curing room
I think it has to
should
do
be.
with preference, really.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be in the 70s, 80s.
No, no,
Yeah,
you'll get
no.
bud mold.
Yeah, I think it's beyond 60 and down to 55, somewhere in between those is where you want to set it, depending on how dry or how moist you want your final product. And it only takes a few days. Like in mine, if I cut down 3 or 4 plants, it usually takes about 2, 3 days before I can put it in a jar, and I'm good. I can work down the 62, 63% humidity, no problem. Um, Yeah, yeah, absolutely. 323 Will. He said, thanks for the advice, man. Can I send you guys some of the genetics that I've crossed recently? Absolutely. 323 Will, if you want to contact us, we have a Facebook, a Instagram, and a Twitter as well. So 323 Will, if you have any of those, I'll give you some contact information and we can talk and figure that out. But definitely, and we will put them out on the channel and shout you out if that's okay too as we grow. And we
Yeah,
have
that'd be
no
cool.
problem with that. So absolutely just get a hold of us. You can reach us even at email at two buds in a jar at gmail.com, and it's all together. So that's two buds in a jar, just our name, but there's no spaces in between at gmail.com. You can email us directly that way as well. So we're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and you can email us as well. And no problem, Canna family. That's definitely why we love doing videos, giving you guys advice or answering questions on live podcasts. Um, we try to do a lot, cover around the board and the bases and teach you guys how to do everything and maybe things you already knew or maybe things you didn't already know or, learning something new. So as long as you pull some kind of good advice that helps you in your garden, we're happy. Honestly, I do have people that said, thanks for your advice. It's helped in our garden. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. So it was really awesome. And I see all these messages and I do answer them personally usually. So I'll be the one to answer you on that inquiry, man, with the genetics. So yeah, just let us know. Hit us up.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta say, I'm down for growing all sorts of genetics, man. I'm definitely down. That's what I love doing. I love
Yeah,
moving
and
from
then
one
something
cultivar to the
and
next
then something outside of the
and doing
box
different.
too.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, something somebody created. I think that'd be really cool. And that would definitely, we'd definitely shout you got out, man, if that's cool. And, if you have any types of links to your genetics or whatever the case may be, like shipping and all that's
Are
legal
they
in our state.
photo period, auto flowers, feminized?
Yeah, just let us know. I mean, yeah, we can get all that on Instagram or Facebook and
Yeah,
yeah,
I guess.
yeah, talk about that 'cause,
Curiosity.
YouTube might have some qualm with it, but
Right.
yeah, YouTube can be, man,
Yeah, I know.
sometimes. I mean,
I
YouTube's
like to forget that amnesia haze smacked me.
He said, of course, I guarantee you will like them. There's a grower friend here in LA. His name is Capulator. He gifted me a Sunset Max seed and I crossed it recently with Gorilla Cookies. That'd be great.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
one of my cultivars, one of
Yeah,
my
and the
favorite ones
Max,
to
Mac
grow.
11s and the Mac, those are hard cultivars, the Mac strands to cross over because they have, I forgot specifically, so I'm not gonna sit there and, say something randomly like I know, but there's something in the Mac strands that make them very difficult to cross. So when you do, I mean, it's,
Wow, that's something special.
yeah, yeah. So that's awesome, man. I gotta say, because Mac 11 genetics and different Mac genetics are really good. And
Yeah,
then when you
we've had
cross
it
them
once.
over with Gorilla Glue, Gorilla Glue is an
Gorillas,
OG.
Gorilla Cookies, you said, right?
No, Gorilla Glue.
Oh, it's a glue.
Yeah.
Well, glue's
Oh,
good
no,
too.
with Gorilla
Yeah, I
Cookies.
thought you said
Yeah, my
cookies.
bad. So, yeah.
Yeah, man, that's
Yeah.
gonna be fire.
You got a cookie strand, a Gorilla Glue strand, and then you got a Mac strand.
Those terpenes are gonna be
Yeah.
off the chain.
Yeah, that's some gas, man. I gotta say, those are some great strands. Yeah, you guys are a little further in the game, I gotta say, as far as, and that's cool. You create your own genetics and strands, I gotta say.
I wish I had the
Yeah.
space. Like I couldn't breed in my one tent.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we plan to do some breeding
One
projects in the
day.
future. Yeah, one day, because I'm growing out of one tent, but I just grow and flower. So yeah, it'd be cool to get some different genetics in and, work with different things. We'd love it. We love figuring out all things about that and showing people, how to do this particular strand, cultivar, all different types of information on it. So yeah, man. I gotta say, the max strands, like I said, those are very hard to work with. I know that. I've watched documents on that, or what are they called?
Um,
Documentary? No.
it's the Amnesia
Shit.
Haze, man. It
Yeah,
strikes
it's
the
that
band.
amnesia
A dom-
haze, man. I can't remember,
a
but
documentary.
documentary. Yep,
Documentary.
there we go.
Yeah.
Documentaries. My bad. Mac 11. Yeah.
Well, the Amnesia
And
Haze worked.
yeah,
It did its job.
yeah, man. And yeah, I've watched it, and it's a hard cultivar to cross. It's especially, but Gorilla Cookies is a very hardy strand too. So when you mix that hardy strand over, maybe that's what made it easier to cross over with. I gotta look that up. I forgot. Hold on.
It is. The Gorilla Cookies was a really hardy strand. Like I did a lot of crazy things to that plant expecting it to die and it survived. And I was like, wow.
323 Will said STS spray made it possible. You are right. The max strands are difficult. Yeah, I can't remember, but it's something in its genetics or something of that nature. And it makes it hard. So they sprayed it like with that spray I showed you on Amazon here recently. Where you just,
Okay.
yeah, okay.
Wild.
Yeah, but they STS sprayed it, so it probably ain't that same spray that's
Right,
on
right,
Amazon.
right.
Yeah, yeah. That's crazy though. I mean, because it is, so they have to do it like that because it's, I can't remember. Damn. I just seen that like a week ago too, like why the Mac 11, Mac 9, and I think original Mac dude was talking about it, but why it was hard to cross over. And I'm like, yeah, they are hard. Like some of these strands make it absolutely difficult unless there's like forced breeding and manipulation in between to get those cross genetics. And you have F4 to F5. Sometimes they can go above, but you're in between, somewhere at least in an F1. But the more pure genetics is the best. So to F5, F1. Um, it's just you're going to have more pure genetics of that particular cultivar.
Right.
So if you're growing grape ape, for instance, an F5 grape ape would be pure genetics, taste profile, terpene, coloration, all that stuff within
That's what I feel.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I've seen those sprays. I forgot what it is too. It's something colloidal silver, colloidal something.
Yeah, yeah, I know
Yeah,
what you're talking
something
about.
like that. But yeah, or
That's for
it's
feminizing the seeds or
yeah,
for
feminizing
is that for
them.
producing a seed without having pollen? I can't rember which.
It's for feminizing them.
Feminizing.
Yeah, yeah, that's basically putting pollen on it, but so yeah, with these difficult strands, they have to do that, roughly. So if not, then you have,
And it probably won't take
yeah,
the pollen.
yeah, it won't take the pollen at all.
Hmm,
So
it's interesting.
yeah, yeah, I thought so too. But yeah, we have a lot of exotic genetics that we gotten too that we're going to grow on to. We can't let too many of those go. We want them to be surprised, but there are a lot of strands you just never heard of. So yeah, we're all about the different ones that are created.
That's awesome.
Definitely, yeah, yeah. And you'll see some Landra strands too. We do got some of those, so you'll see some, original strands too. I got some of those, but they're photo period, and I'm going through autos right now like crazy. So
Trying
I
to
have a
get
lot.
through 'em.
Yeah, I have a lot of autos. So many autos. I love them
Well,
though,
Jelly Donuts is an auto
and I love
too.
photo period as well. But
And I want to try the autos again and try to redeem myself from the amnesia hazes. That plant was. I made some mistakes with the
sometimes
with that silica. I thought it could take a lot more silica than what it could,
I'm
and I learned my lesson.
Yeah, I mean, I feel it. I messed up with the banana a little bit slightly, and it could have turned out a lot better, but the strawberries was quite redeeming. So I was just like, okay. And then I'm on the mimosa cake, and I was giving it,
It still looks very
yeah,
good.
I was giving it a quarter to a half nutrients on auto flowers, and they required, or not quarter to a half. I was giving it full nutrients, but it required more than a quarter to a half of cow mag. So I mean, it's a cow mag hardy strand, it seems. So. I'm going to definitely give it and it's been recovering. So I'm like, cool beans, man. It's looking better and better. Um, yeah, yeah, Canna family. Yeah, I agree. The amnesia haze, the whole grow was a roller coaster.
It was rough.
It was a roller coaster, Harry. I
It was
mean,
it was rough, man. Like,
yeah,
I thought I was getting it back, and then it went back the other way, and I was like, man. By the end of it, it was like I was just happy to finally get it out of the tent and be able to start again.
absolutely. I know. You have those grows where it's like you try and you're nailing down things, you're getting it right. And, like, I've been growing for quite a while. Harry's just kind of started and he's grown some beautiful plants. He's grown the gorilla cookies, the amnesia haze buds didn't turn out too badly, at all. And I gotta say, smoking it, it wasn't bad at all. I mean, it could have been more condensed and, more floral and stronger terpene profile. Yes. But, sometimes when you mess up and you can get viable bud out of it, it's still nice, and you got to pick it at peak potency when all of them were cloudy,
You're right.
from the top down. So, I mean, you had all that psychoactive potency right there at
But you
peak
can
point.
tell from puffing down one, man. Like that, wow. I was in a amnesia fog there. I couldn't remember the word
It
documentary.
does. Like I've been messing up. Like dude mentioned earlier, smalls, and I'm like, no, those are the lower tier buds at the bottom of the plant. Because I'm thinking popcorn nugs, but they're also called smalls. Some companies and dispensaries will sell those and tell you they're the lower shelf nuggets. But I looked it up, and it's a terminology for larger colas, and I'm like, oh shit, my bad.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, I never heard of that before. So sometimes even you yourself learn when you've, researched and studied a lot of grow methods, this, that. I learn stuff every day. I mean, I know way more than the average Joe, that's for sure, because my years of experience
And
of
there,
research and hands-on, but I still learn things every day.
but and there's so many different ways to do things too. There's growing in cocoa core, growing hydroponically, growing in soil, and there's all this information out there, and I think sometimes it gets mixed up. And people think, oh, well, you do it this way, so you have to do it this way too. And it's like, no, actually, soil is a little different than soilless, and soilless is a little different than hydroponic, and hydroponics is much more similar to the deep water culture. And like all these things
Absolutely.
are similar, but they have their own different pluses and minuses, quirks, and things that you have to do for them to work right.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, don't get too far away from what you grow and, study one thing, man. Don't go from, soil to medium. Let's just learn your thing.
Well, well,
Don't go from cocoa core to,
what I'm saying is all this information's out there, and I
oh,
think
yeah.
it all
I
gets
mean,
mixed in together. So
it's
when
that
you're
damn
trying to
amnesia
do,
haze.
like, especially Google has become a really hard search engine to deal with, because if you type in stun, well, you're getting pictures of Jupiter, the moon, the stars. You're getting all this information overload of everything, like deficiencies. I'm looking at like iron deficiency, and they're bringing up potassium and nitrogen and nutrient lockout, and I'm getting all this additional stuff. So there's like all this overload, this crowding of information, but it's not good information. It's a lot of bad information that can lead to misconceptions or misunderstanding.
Yeah, and that's kind of exactly what happened with that whole smalls thing, honestly. But Um, yeah, I gotta say, sometimes it's terminology, it's something you already kind of knew, but it just had a different terminology behind it. So, yeah, initially it was just that. But yeah, we love a lot of cannabis, different topics and things, and we wanted to bring that to you guys all wrapped up into one channel, show you guys a lot of grow videos. Sometimes we've had some hiccups along the way, and embarrassing as it is for me and Harry, especially myself with the years and the crops and the buds. I have tons of pictures. They're on Instagram, they're on Facebook, they're on Twitter. Go check them out. But they're kind of my receipts in a way. But so it's very rare I'll have a hiccup, but sometimes along the way I do, and I film that to show you guys, like, hey, this is what you do to bring it about out, and I explain it because I don't see a lot of channels doing that, and I don't blame them because it is embarrassing when you know what you're doing. You're talking to your audience, and sometimes you have a little hiccup in your grow, and you're like, "Damn it, how'd this happen? All that strain specifically just needed more CalMag or more potassium or more this or more that, and I didn't know that because I failed to look up the specs on the thing,
Well,
you know."
like any plant, even tomatoes have a bunch of different varieties, and they all have different
Yeah,
climates that they grow best in, different needs and demands that they all have. So,
yeah.
cannabis is definitely that way, where each cultivar definitely seems to have its own personality. Even sometimes you'll have seeds that are all the same, but this one seed took more of the mother's dominant traits, and these two seeds took the father's dominant traits. So it's almost like they're, even though they're all the same, this one has a little bit of a
Yeah.
different personality than these other two.
And you'll notice that with autoflowers and 42 fast buds, some will look identical. Like right now, I'm growing three mimosa cakes. That's six fingers, but three mimosa cakes. I blame the amnesia haze. This whole episode or podcast, amnesia haze. You ever did a podcast while you have an amnesia? We have. But anyway, you'll see that there's inconsistencies in the genetics. So you'll see let's say like me, I've grown three strawberry plants and three mimosas now. Two mimosas in there look exactly like one another. However, one looks kind of completely the same. That's because it had other dominant genes from its one of the parents. So, it was mimosa cake, so it was mixed with mimosa and wedding cake. So therefore, it took on the wedding cake more dominant gene than the mimosa, or vice versa. I don't know. I haven't grown either yet specifically. I haven't grown mimosa or wedding cake. So,
I
I'd
got
like
that
to.
wedding
I would
cheesecake.
love to. Yeah, I'd like to grow wedding cake. That's a fire strand. But
It
anyway,
is.
yeah. So, but getting back to it, we come on just to tell you guys again, every around 5 p.m., 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will always be on Mondays, some days, and sometimes rare. We might have two podcasts going on, and we'll put two out that week or, more videos. So we're always doing videos for you guys. We're always creating content, coming up with new stuff to show and tell you guys all about, review, do different recipes, different grows, things of that nature, and just tons of content coming up. We got a whole bookload for you guys, and we go live again every Monday, 5 p.m. around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because that's where we're located, so in the Eastern Standard Time Zone. So, with that being said, guys, we have been doing this for quite a while.
How is it, 3 hours, 4
Yeah,
hours we've been running
yeah,
this?
doing this
The
for like
camera's
two
gonna
to three
die.
hours.
The camera's gonna die.
But hold on, we got a couple more comments. I'm gonna answer these. Hold
Hey, go for it, man.
on. Man disposed over here in LA, overcharge and package dates always have to be checked. Yeah, yeah, man, and I can imagine because a lot of things are expensive actually before we get out of here. There is a lot of things expensive in LA
Hmm.
and everything is overpriced. That is true. But I can imagine that they're going to tax twice as much as they do over here. We only have a 20% sales tax. Um, however, what was I going to say? Oh, I can imagine in a bigger city with that's more populated with vast more people smoking. I can imagine how many people. I mean, Los Angeles, California. So you
It's
got to think,
expensive over
yeah,
there. That's
there's
where it's
yeah,
expensive over there, man.
that's one where some of the dankest sativa strains come from, honestly. Then you got like Humboldt County and a few other places, you know. So you got, Los Angeles, California, and, I can imagine the tax bracket up there is insane. Like if you owned your own home or even rented, I imagine it's expensive renting up there. I've
And
seen,
that's a really expensive area to
yeah,
live. I don't, man.
yeah.
That,
So I imagine he says it's like or they overcharge, and I mean, like I bet honestly, I can imagine probably like because I've seen some people order from where they're at on TV, and it's just like what they charge for them to bring it to the door is insane.
yeah.
You know, it's too bad you can't start your own business and do that, legally without a bunch of licensing, and charge people less because it's just driving shit like a pizza.
Right. I mean
Why is it so damn expensive? It's not that
that
damn
is the
expensive to get a
problem.
pizza, guys.
If we had like
You know?
200 or maybe like 300K, maybe we'd be able to start up that business.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, but Yeah, guys, we don't mean to cut it short. We'll start a podcast earlier, but we have been filming for quite some time today. We got to get these videos edited. We're probably going to be shooting more stuff this week as well. Bunch of interesting content to definitely not miss out on. We will be going live every Monday at 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. And with that being said, guys, I'm your host, Dustin from Two Buds in a Jar.
I'm Ben Harry Cola.
And that's Harry Cola. And we're both burning out. We'll see you guys next Monday. Peace.
Later.
There we go.